smell.
Logan Hart hadn't spoken to another human being in 47 days when he bought the mansion for 50 cents. Not exactly true. He'd mumbled thanks to a cashier, nodded at the mailman. But talking the kind where you look someone in the eye and pretend you're still whole, no. He couldn't do that anymore. Gage understood. The Belgian Malinois always understood. They sat in Logan's rusted F-150, staring at the stone mansion rising from the Missouri hillside.
We actually found
3
it.
stories,
Mr. Johnson, did
empty
you know
windows,
about the merger? What is
a
your
porch
response to
hanging
the
like a
allegations?
broken jaw.
I can't
What do you
comment
think,
right now.
boy?
We are reviewing the
Gage's
situation.
ears went flat against his skull. That should have been Logan's first warning. In 8 years, 4 tours, 200 missions, Gage had never refused to move forward. Not under mortar fire. Not when insurgents were shooting. Never. Until now. The county auction had been a joke. Logan had wandered in because his VA therapist kept nagging him to engage with the community. 15 people in a courthouse basement. An exhausted woman with reading glasses droning through foreclosures. Then she got to the mansion. Item 17. The Bradley Estate. 200 square feet. Built 1897. Minimum bid 50 cents. Someone laughed. Nervous. Wrong. Any takers? Silence stretched like a held breath. Logan's hand went up before his brain caught up. Muscle memory. The same instinct that made him dive for cover when cars backfired. Sold to bidder 23. That was it. No questions. No inspection. Just a deed and a handshake from a clerk who wouldn't meet his eyes. You know about the house? The clerk had asked. Should I? The man's pen stopped moving. People talk, that's all. About what? Nothing that'll be in the paperwork. Logan had signed anyway. What did he have left to lose? Now, sitting in the truck with Gage rigid beside him, Logan wondered if he'd just bought his own grave. Come on, let's go see what we got. Gage didn't move. Gage, you eat. Out. The command that always worked. The dog's head turned slowly. His eyes locked on Logan's, and Logan felt his stomach drop. He'd seen that look twice before, 30 seconds before an IED killed 3 Marines, and again before a suicide bomber walked into a crowded market. Recognition. Warning. Death is here. It's just a house, Logan said, but his hand already moved to his belt, searching for the sidearm he wasn't allowed to carry anymore. Not after the incident at the grocery store. Perceived threat isn't actual threat, Logan. We've discussed this. Gage jumped down from the truck and planted himself between Logan and the mansion. Body angled. Ready to attack or defend. You're being dramatic. But Gage never was. That was the problem. The dog had saved Logan's life 9 times. Maybe 10. Logan had lost count after the 4th concussion. Logan forced himself forward. Gravel crunched under his boots. Each step felt wrong, like walking into an ambush. His peripheral vision started tunneling the first sign of a panic attack. He counted his breaths. 4 in. 7 hold. 8 out. The way the VA therapist taught him. It didn't help. The front door had 7 keys on the ring. The 3rd one turned. The door swung open with a sound like an exhale. Gage stopped at the threshold and refused to cross. Gage, come. The dog whined, high, desperate, a sound Logan had never heard from him. What's wrong with you? Gage backed up 3 steps and sat, staring, pleading. Fine, stay there, I'll check it out. Logan stepped inside alone. Wrong. Everything was wrong. The house should have smelled like rot, like animal nests, and water damage, and decades of abandonment. Logan had cleared enough buildings overseas to know what death and time smelled like. This house smelled like nothing, sterile, wrong. His boots echoed on hardwood floors. Dust hung in pale light. Furniture draped in white sheets. A chandelier overhead, crystals dull but unbroken. Too clean. Someone had been maintaining this place. Outside, Gage started barking, sharp, urgent. The alert bark that meant threat, active threat, come back now. "I'm fine," Logan called, but his voice sounded thin in the emptiness. He moved through the ground floor fast. Living room, kitchen, study, nothing. No squatters, no animals, no signs anyone had been here in years. So why was Gage losing his mind? Logan found a hallway at the back of the house. 4 doors. He opened them fast. Linen closet, bathroom, mechanical room, and the 4th door was locked. Every other door had been open. Why this one? He tried the key ring. 5th key clicked. The door opened on stairs leading down. A basement. Of course. Logan flipped the light switch. Fluorescent lights buzzed on below. Industrial lighting. The kind that didn't belong in a Victorian mansion. That should have been his second warning. He descended fast, hand trailing the wall. The basement opened into a concrete room. Clean, organized. A metal desk against the far wall. Filing cabinet. Banker's boxes stacked neat. And a coat rack with a single jacket hanging from it. Logan crossed the room. The jacket was windbreaker material. Dark blue. Official. He lifted it from the hook and turned it over. Embroidered on the chest in gold thread, Mayor Harold C. Bradley, Ashford, Missouri. The jacket was warm. Not room temperature. Warm. Like someone had been wearing it 5 minutes ago. Logan dropped it like it had burned him. His hands started shaking, the PTSD tremor he couldn't control. He backed toward the stairs, and that's when he heard it. Upstairs, the front door slammed shut. Not drifted. Not creaked. Slammed. Hard enough to shake the walls. Gage started barking like he was being attacked. Logan took the stairs 3 at a time, hand reaching for the weapon that wasn't there. Brain screaming ambush. Ambush! You walked into a kill zone. He hit the hallway running and grabbed the front doorknob. Locked. From the outside. Gage. I'm here. The door unlocked itself with an audible click and swung open. Gage lunged inside and immediately put himself between Logan and the stairs. Hackles raised, every tooth showing. Logan spun to look where the dog was staring. Nothing. Empty stairs. Empty landing above. What did you see? Gage didn't stop growling. The sound was continuous, primal wrong. Logan's phone buzzed. Email notification. The subject line: County Records. Bradley Property. Historical documentation. He opened it with trembling fingers. No message. Just an attached PDF. A newspaper article from October 2018. Mayor Bradley, missing investigation ongoing. Logan's eyes caught on one line: police say there are no signs of foul play at Bradley's residence. His residence. His home. Not his office. And not this mansion which Bradley had apparently owned but never lived in. Logan looked up. Gage was still staring at the stairs, still growling. "Someone's been here," Logan said aloud. "Recently. But that didn't make sense. If someone was hiding here, why slam a door? Why reveal themselves, unless they wanted Logan to know? Unless they were sending a message? You're not welcome." Logan walked back to the basement stairs. Gage wouldn't follow, so Logan propped the door open and went down alone. The jacket was gone. Logan stared at the empty coat rack. He'd dropped it, right there, on the floor. He was certain. Now it was gone, and the floor was empty. But the calendar was still on the desk. September 2018. 7 years ago. Logan forced himself to approach the desk. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely sort through the papers. Property surveys, tax documents, purchase agreements. And then, at the bottom, a photograph. 2 men standing in front of this mansion. Maybe 25 years ago. One was clearly Mayor Bradley, younger, smiling. The other was Logan's father, Miles Hart, dead 19 years. Logan's legs stopped working. He sat down hard on the concrete, still holding the photo. Brain refusing to process it. His father and Mayor Bradley. Together, in front of this house. On the back, in his father's handwriting, final survey, MH. Do not file. He knew. Do not file. He knew what Logan's father had been a county surveyor. He'd died when Logan was 14. Car accident. Single vehicle. No witnesses. Police ruled it accidental. Logan had never questioned it. Why would he? But looking at this photo, at the urgency in his father's handwriting. "Dad," Logan whispered. "What did you find?" Gage barked once from upstairs. Sharp. Alert. Logan shoved the photo in his jacket and ran up the stairs. The dog was at the window, paws on the sill, staring outside. Logan followed his gaze. A car sat at the end of the driveway. Black sedan, tinted windows, engine running. The driver's door opened. A man got out. Tall, gray hair, expensive suit. He looked up at the mansion, shading his eyes, and Logan saw his face clearly. Mayor Bradley. Older, grayer, but unmistakably the same man from the photo. The same man who'd been missing 7 years. The same man whose warm jacket had just vanished from the basement. Bradley stared at the house. Then his eyes found Logan's window. Their gazes locked. Bradley smiled. Not friendly. Not warm. A smile that said, "I've been waiting for you." Then he got back in the car and drove away. Logan's phone buzzed again. Another email. No sender. No subject. 2 words. "Leave now." Gage pressed against Logan's leg, trembling. "Okay," Logan said to the empty house. "Okay, we're leaving." He tried the front door. It wouldn't open. Locked. From the outside. He yanked the knob, slammed his shoulder against it. Nothing. All the ground floor windows were painted shut. His phone showed no service. He'd had full bars 5 minutes ago. "Gage," Logan said, and he hated how his voice shook. "We need another way out." They moved fast through the ground floor. Every door, every window. Sealed. Locked. Inaccessible. Someone had trapped them inside. Someone who knew they'd be here. Someone who'd been waiting. Logan found himself back at the basement stairs, staring down. Gage refused to descend, so Logan went alone, moving faster now, searching a door. Behind the stacked boxes, metal, industrial. Logan shoved the boxes aside and grabbed the handle. Unlocked. It opened on a tunnel. Concrete walls. Emergency lights glowing faintly. The tunnel sloped downward away from the house. Escape route, or trap. Behind him, Gage was barking frantically. Don't go, danger." Ahead, the tunnel stretched into darkness, and from deep in that darkness, Logan heard it. Footsteps, heavy boots, coming closer. Logan backed away and ran for the stairs. He grabbed Gage and they went up, not to the ground floor, but higher to the second story, where maybe there was a window that opened. The second floor hallway had 6 doors. Logan started trying them frantically. Bedroom window painted shut. Bedroom window painted shut. Bathroom, no window. Bedroom. This window wasn't painted. The lock was old, but it turned. Logan shoved the window up and looked out. 12-foot drop to the collapsed porch. Survivable. "Come on, boy. Gage wasn't with him. Logan spun. The dog was at the last door at the end of the hall, the one Logan hadn't tried yet. "Gage, we don't have time." The dog started scratching. Deliberate. The way he used to indicate explosives overseas. Something's here. Something important. The footsteps from the basement were on the stairs now. Heavy, purposeful, getting closer. "Gage, we have to go. Now." But the dog wouldn't move. Just kept scratching, looking back at Logan with an expression that was almost human. "This matters. This is why we're here." Logan heard himself say, 5 seconds. He crossed to the door and tried the handle. Locked. He fumbled through the keys, hands shaking, and the footsteps were on the ground floor now, moving toward the stairs, and Logan dropped the keys twice before finding one that fit. The door opened. Not a bedroom. A records room. Filing cabinets floor to ceiling. Banker's boxes labeled with dates going back 30 years. A map of Ashford County, covering one wall marked with colored pins and handwritten notes. And on a metal table in the center, a single file folder lay open. Logan stepped inside. Gage followed, finally willing to enter, and went straight to the table and sat. Logan picked up the folder with hands that had gone numb. Photocopies of deeds, land transfers, purchase agreements, all involving the same property, this mansion plus 400 surrounding acres. Sales spanning 23 years from 1985 to 2008. Different buyers, different names, different companies. But every deed had the same surveyor signature, Miles Hart, Logan's father, and every deed had the same witness, Harold C. Bradley. Logan's brain started making connections he didn't want to make. All these sales, all surveyed by his father, all witnessed by Bradley. What if they were fraudulent? What if the land had been sold multiple times to different buyers? What if the surveys were falsified? Boundaries drawn wrong, deliberately overlapping. That would be millions in fraud. And his father had discovered it. Do not file. He knew. Bradley had known. Logan's father was going to expose him. And then Logan's father had died in a convenient car accident. "Oh, Dad," Logan whispered. The footsteps were on the second-floor stairs now. Logan grabbed the entire folder and shoved it inside his jacket. He turned to run. And Mayor Harold Bradley was standing in the doorway. 7 years older than his missing person photo. Gray hair, expensive suit. Very much alive. "Hello, Logan," Bradley said. His voice was calm, cultured, wrong. "I see you found your father's work." Logan's hand moved automatically to his belt, to the weapon that wasn't there. Bradley noticed and smiled. "You're not armed. I made sure of that. The VA was very cooperative after your little grocery store incident. PTSD is such a tragedy, isn't it? You've been watching me." "Of course. I've watched everyone who came near this house for 7 years. Most people have enough sense to stay away. But you..." Bradley's smile widened. "You're Miles Hart's son. I should have known you'd be too stubborn." Gage growled low. Bradley glanced at the dog with amusement. "Your father made the same mistake. He found something he wasn't supposed to find. He couldn't let it go. He was going to file a report with the state surveyor's office, going to ruin years of careful work. You killed him." Logan's voice came out flat. "I corrected a problem. Your father's brake lines were quite corroded according to the accident report. Old trucks, you never know when something might fail." Something inside Logan broke. Not panic, not fear. Something colder, clearer. "The land fraud," he said. "You sold the same parcels to different buyers. Multiple deeds for the same property. My father discovered it. Your father was too thorough. He noticed several boundaries I'd filed didn't match his surveys. He started investigating, found the pattern." Bradley stepped into the room. "I offered him money, quite a lot of money. He refused, said he had a son to think about, that he wanted to set a good example." Logan felt bile rising in his throat. "So you killed him?" "I preserved what I'd built. Your father's death was unfortunate but necessary." Bradley's hand moved inside his jacket. "Just like yours will be." Gage launched himself across the room. 80 pounds of muscle and training and loyalty. The dog moved like he was still young, still in Afghanistan, still perfect. He hit Bradley in the chest, and the man went down hard. Logan was moving before his brain caught up, tackling Bradley, pinning him, and Gage had his jaws locked around Bradley's right wrist, the one reaching for a gun. "Call him off," Bradley gasped. "Call him." Logan pulled out his phone. Still no service, but the camera worked. He started recording. "State your name." "I'm not..." Gage bit down harder. Bradley screamed. "State your name." "Harold Bradley, Mayor Harold Bradley. You've been presumed dead for 7 years. Where have you been? You can't do this. This isn't legal." Logan looked at Gage. "Good boy. Harder." The dog's jaws tightened. Something cracked in Bradley's wrist. "Where have you been?" "I faked my disappearance," Bradley shouted. "The FBI was asking questions about county land sales. I staged everything, and I've been living under a false identity in Kansas City. And my father, Miles Hart. I killed him. I cut his brake lines. He was going to expose the fraud, and I couldn't allow that. Are you satisfied? Jesus Christ, call off your dog?" Logan stopped recording. He had it. Confession. Video. From the man's own mouth. Gage. Loss. Release. The dog let go, but stayed close, ready. Logan stood holding his phone like it contained the Holy Grail. For the first time in 8 years since before Afghanistan, before the IEDs, before the nightmares, Logan felt clear. "You killed my father," he said quietly. Bradley was cradling his wrist, breathing hard. "That recording won't hold up in court. I don't need it to. I just need to send it to the right people. State police, FBI, news outlets." Logan backed toward the door. "You've been dead 7 years. Let's see how you explain resurrection." He ran. Gage ran beside him. Down the stairs. Across the foyer. Logan didn't bother with doors. He went through the window he'd opened earlier, dropping onto the collapsed porch, rolling, coming up, running. They reached the truck. Logan fumbled for his keys, dropped them, grabbed them. A gunshot cracked across the hillside. The truck's back window exploded. Logan looked back. Bradley stood in the mansion doorway holding a pistol arm extended. His face twisted with something beyond rage. "You can't leave!" Bradley screamed. "You can't tell anyone I've worked too hard." Another shot. This one hit the hood. Logan grabbed Gage and dove into the cab. He jammed the key in the ignition. Engine roared. He floored it down the driveway as 2 more shots punched through the truck's body. Gravel sprayed. The truck fishtailed onto the main road. Logan drove like he was escaping an ambush in Helmand, fast, erratic, unpredictable. His phone suddenly exploded with notifications as they hit cell range. Messages, emails, voicemails. Logan didn't look. He drove straight to the Ashford Police Department, Gage panting beside him, and he walked into the lobby covered in dust, shaking with adrenaline. "I need to report a murder," Logan said to the desk officer. "And I have proof that Mayor Bradley is alive." The officer stared at him like he'd announced aliens had landed. "Son, Mayor Bradley's been missing for—" Logan held up his phone, pressed play. Bradley's voice filled the station. "I killed him. I cut his brake lines." The officer's face went white. "Get the sheriff," he said to someone Logan couldn't see. "And call the state police. Now." Within 20 minutes, the station was full. Sheriff's deputies, state troopers, a detective from the county seat. Logan told the story 3 times, showed the video 5 times, handed over the folder of fraudulent deeds. "We need to go back to the house," the lead trooper said. "If Bradley's still there." "He won't be," Logan said. "He's been hiding 7 years. He's got escape plans." But they went anyway. A convoy of police vehicles heading up the hill. Bradley was gone, but he'd left in a hurry. The basement was full of evidence files, records, a laptop still open. And in the tunnel beneath the house they found a small apartment. Bed, supplies, police scanner. He'd been living there, under the house, for years. Watching. Waiting. "Jesus," a deputy whispered. "He was right here all along." Logan sat in his truck with Gage while the police processed the scene. The sun was setting, painting the mansion gold and red. His phone rang. Unknown number. Logan answered. "Logan Hart," a woman's voice. "Professional, urgent." "Yeah." "My name is Elise Monroe. I'm an investigative journalist with the Kansas City Star. I heard about what happened. Police scanner traffic is hard to ignore when it involves a resurrected mayor. I need to talk to you about the land fraud case. I already talked to the police. This is bigger than what you told the police." Those deeds you found, I've been investigating similar fraud cases across 6 Missouri counties. Same pattern, same methodology. Bradley wasn't working alone. He was part of a network. Logan felt cold. How big? Big enough to have federal contracts. Big enough to steal veteran benefit funds. Big enough that when I started asking questions 2 years ago, someone burned down my office. Why tell me this? Because you have something they want, the records from that house, and because... She paused. Because I knew your father. Logan's grip tightened on the phone. What? Miles Hart. I was a junior reporter in 1996 when he came to my paper with evidence of land fraud. My editor killed the story, said it was too risky. Your father walked out and 3 weeks later he was dead. I've regretted that every day for 19 years. Logan couldn't speak. I'm sorry, Elise said softly. I'm so sorry. But if you want to finish what your father started, if you want to make his death mean something, I can help. We can expose all of it. Every corrupt official, every fraudulent deed, every stolen dollar. They'll come after us. Yes. But you have a video confession. You have documents. You have proof. That's more than your father had. That's more than I've ever had. Logan looked at Gage. The dog was staring at him with dark, intelligent eyes. What would Dad do? He already knew. His father had tried alone and died. Maybe 2 people together had better odds. Where are you? Logan asked. Kansas City. But I can be in Ashford tomorrow morning. The police station. 9 a.m. Bring everything you have. I will. And Logan, watch your back tonight. The people Bradley worked with, they won't like what you've started. She hung up. Logan sat in the truck for a long time, watching police move through his 50-cent mansion, thinking about his father and brake lines and courage. His phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. You should have taken the warning. Last chance, leave Missouri tonight. This is a courtesy we didn't extend to your father. Logan showed it to the nearest trooper. The man's face hardened. We can put you in protective custody. No. Logan's voice was flat. I'm not running. Sir, this is a credible threat. I've been threatened by people with RPGs. I'll take my chances. That night, Logan checked into a motel with Gage. He declined police protection. He'd learned in Afghanistan that the best security was unpredictability. Move fast. Stay random. Trust no one. He sat on the motel bed with his laptop going through photos of the files. Gage lay at the door ears, up alert. The fraud was massive. Hundreds of deeds. Millions stolen. His father's name appeared again and again, always legitimate, always accurate. Until they weren't. Logan found the exact moment, March 1996. A deed that didn't match his father's survey. His father had filed a correction with the county. That correction had been deleted from official records. But his father had kept copies. 2 weeks after filing the correction, Miles Hart died. Logan closed his laptop and lay back staring at the ceiling. Hey, Dad, he said quietly. I'm sorry it took so long. But I know now, and I'm going to finish what you started. Gage whined and jumped on the bed, something he wasn't usually allowed. But tonight, Logan didn't stop him. The dog curled up beside him, warm and solid. Outside, a car engine started. Logan tensed, reaching for the baseball bat he'd bought. But the car drove past without slowing. He didn't sleep that night. Neither did Gage. They lay together in the dark, listening, waiting for Dawn and Elise Monroe and whatever came next. Because Logan knew with combat certainty, that this was just the beginning. Bradley was running, but he wasn't alone. He had partners, accomplices, people with money and power and reasons to keep the truth buried. Those people would be coming. But so would the truth. And Logan had learned something in 8 years of war. Truth was the most dangerous weapon in the world. Once you armed it, you couldn't stop what happened next. Logan didn't hear the knock at first. He'd finally drifted into something halfway between sleep and unconsciousness around 4 a.m. His hand still gripping the baseball bat, Gage's warmth pressed against his side. When the knock came again, soft, deliberate 3 taps, the dog's head shot up and Logan was already moving, bat-raised, heart hammering. "Logan Hart!" A woman's voice through the door. "It's Elise Monroe. I know it's early, but we need to talk, now." Logan checked his watch. 5:47 a.m. She wasn't supposed to be here for 3 more hours. He looked through the peephole. A woman in her 50s stood in the dim hallway light. Gray streaks in dark hair pulled back tight. Sharp eyes that kept scanning the hallway. She held a leather messenger bag like it contained something precious. Logan opened the door 6 inches, chain still latched. "You're early." "Someone followed me from Kansas City. Black SUV, no plates. I lost them 20 miles back, but they know I'm here." She glanced over her shoulder. "Can I come in? Please." Logan unlatched the chain. Elise slipped inside fast, and Gage was immediately between her and Logan, assessing. "He's friendly," Logan said. "He's trained." Elise's eyes were on Gage with something like recognition. Military K9, Afghanistan, judging by the scar pattern on his shoulder. IED. Mosul, 2019. "How did you—" "I spent 2 years embedded with the Marines. I know what war dogs look like." She set her bag on the small table and started pulling out files. "And I know what men who've seen too much look like too. No offense." "None taken." Elise spread documents across the table, photocopies, photographs, handwritten notes. Logan recognized some of it immediately. Property deeds, survey maps, names he'd seen in the mansion's records room. "Your father came to my paper in March 1996 with evidence of land fraud," Elise said, not looking up. He had survey records showing that Mayor Bradley, acting as county clerk at the time, had witnessed multiple sales of the same properties to different buyers. The boundaries overlapped. Some parcels were sold 3-4 times. Your father had documented everything. Dates, amounts, buyer names. Logan's throat felt tight. "What did your editor do?" "Killed the story. Said we didn't have enough corroboration. Said going after a sitting county official was too risky without ironclad proof." Elise's jaw tightened. "I was 26, fresh out of journalism school. I believed him when he said we needed more time to investigate. And then my father died. 3 weeks later. I tried to follow up. The editor shut me down. Said the investigation was closed. When I pushed back, he fired me." She finally looked up, and Logan saw something raw in her eyes. "I've spent 19 years trying to prove I wasn't a coward. That I didn't let your father die for nothing." Logan sat down hard on the bed. Gage pressed against his leg, solid and real. "The network is bigger than Bradley," Elise continued. "I've traced similar fraud patterns in 6 counties. Always the same structure: surveyors who get too curious end up dead in convenient accidents. County officials who ask questions get transferred or resign suddenly. And the money flows up to a shell company called Midwest Development Solutions. Who owns it? That's what I've been trying to figure out for 2 years. The ownership structure is buried under 12 layers of LLCs and offshore accounts. But I found something last week." She pulled out a grainy photograph. This was taken at a county commissioners meeting in 2015. Back row 3rd from the left. Logan looked at the photo. A man in an expensive suit, silver hair, standing slightly apart from the others. He looked familiar, but Logan couldn't place him. "State Senator Richard Voss," Elise said. "He's been in the Missouri legislature for 23 years, chairs the Appropriations Committee, controls billions in state contracts. And according to documents I got from a whistleblower, he's the primary beneficiary of Midwest Development Solutions." Logan's hands started shaking again. "You're saying a state senator is behind all this?" "Not just behind it. He created it. Bradley was just a middleman." Voss identified properties with unclear titles or disputed boundaries, had Bradley manipulate the surveys and deeds, then sold the same land multiple times through shell buyers. The profits got laundered through development contracts and state infrastructure projects. Elise pulled out more documents. Your father wasn't the first surveyor to discover it. He was the fourth. 4 surveyors. Dead in car accidents, every single one. And now you've got Bradley on video confessing to murder. You've got the records from the mansion. You have everything we need to... Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her face went pale. What? Logan asked. The journalist I've been working with. The one who was helping me trace the shell companies. She turned the phone so Logan could see the text. They found me. Get out now. Don't trust anyone. They're monitoring. The text cut off mid-sentence. Elise stared at her phone like it had turned into a snake. Oh God, Sarah, they got to Sarah. Who's they? I don't know, but if they found her in Chicago, they know about you. They know about this motel. She started shoving documents back into her bag. We need to leave, right now. Logan grabbed his jacket. Where do we go? Somewhere public. Somewhere with witnesses and cameras. We need to get this evidence uploaded to... The window exploded. Glass sprayed across the room. Logan hit the floor, pulling Elise down with him, and Gage was already barking, already moving toward the door. Another window shattered. Then another. Not bullets. Rocks. Someone was breaking the windows from outside. They're flushing us out, Logan said. His combat instincts kicked in cool and clear. They want us to run into the parking lot where they can... The door splintered, not kicked in. Blown in. Someone had used a battering ram. 2 men rushed through, not police, not military, but they moved with professional precision. Black tactical gear, balaclavas. No identifying marks. Gage hit the first one, low jaws locking on the man's thigh. The man screamed and went down. The second one raised something that looked like a pistol, but wasn't a tranquilizer gun. Logan threw the lamp. It hit the man's arm, and the tranquilizer dart buried itself in the wall. Logan followed with the baseball bat, catching the man across the ribs. The man grunted, but didn't go down. He was wearing body armor. Elise out the back. But there was no back exit. Motel rooms never had back exits. The bathroom. Logan grabbed Elise's arm and pulled her toward the bathroom. Gage was still fighting the first man, snarling and tearing. The second man was raising the tranquilizer gun again. Logan slammed the bathroom door and locked it. Thin wood. It wouldn't hold long. The window, Elise gasped. Tiny frosted window above the toilet. Logan smashed it with his elbow. Too small for him. Maybe big enough for Elise. Go. Get to the police station. Tell them. I'm not leaving you. The bathroom door shuddered. Someone was kicking it. 30 seconds, maybe less. Go! Logan boosted her up. She squeezed through. The window dropped, and he heard her running. The door splintered. Logan turned to face whoever came through. Bare hands raised, no weapon. No plan. Just the cold clarity of knowing he was about to lose a fight. The door burst open. And the man standing there wasn't wearing tactical gear. He was wearing a state trooper's uniform. Logan's brain stuttered. Officer, thank God. The trooper raised his service weapon. Not at Logan, at Gage. Call off your dog, or I put him down. Logan's blood went cold. Gage. Loss. Release. The dog let go of the man in tactical gear and backed toward Logan, growling, bleeding from a cut above his eye. The trooper smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. Logan Hart, you've caused quite a bit of trouble in the last 12 hours. Who are you? Sergeant Dale Pritchard. I've been with the Missouri State Police for 16 years. I also do freelance security work for a development company. You might have heard of it, Midwest Development Solutions. He gestured with the gun. Out of the bathroom, slowly. Logan stepped over the broken door. The 2 men in tactical gear were getting to their feet. One was limping badly where Gage had torn his leg. The other was cradling his ribs. Where's the woman? Pritchard asked. Gone. Where? I don't know. She ran. Pritchard sighed. That's unfortunate. For both of you. He pulled out his radio. This is Pritchard. Subject is contained. The Monroe woman is loose. She went out the bathroom window heading west. Send units to intercept. Logan's mind raced. Elise had maybe a 2-minute head start. The police station was half a mile away. If she could get there before... You're wondering if she'll make it, Pritchard said conversationally. She won't. We've got 4 units in the area. She'll be picked up within minutes. Then we'll have a nice conversation about what happens to people who ask too many questions. You can't kill a journalist. That makes national news. Who said anything about killing journalists have mental breakdowns all the time? Especially ones with a history of paranoid delusions and financial problems. Very sad. She might even hurt herself. Pritchard's smile widened. Just like you're about to. Logan's stomach dropped. What? Veteran with PTSD. History of violent episodes. That grocery store incident was very helpful documentation, by the way. Buys a creepy mansion, starts making wild accusations about a beloved missing mayor, then tragically takes his own life in a motel room. His loyal dog tries to protect him, but has to be put down when he attacks responding officers. Pritchard shrugged. It writes itself. Logan looked at Gage. The dog was trembling, ready to attack on command, but this wasn't Afghanistan. This was Missouri. And these men had guns and badges and a story that would be believed because veterans killed themselves every day and nobody questioned it. You won't get away with this, Logan said, and he hated how weak it sounded. We already have, 4 times. What's one more? One of the tactical guys spoke up. We need to move. Every minute we're here is risk. Pritchard nodded. You're right. Let's make this quick. He raised his service weapon and pointed it at Logan's head. I'm sorry it has to be this way. Nothing personal. You're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, just like your father. Logan's vision tunneled. This was it. This was how he died. Not in Afghanistan, not under fire, but in a cheap Missouri motel because he'd asked the wrong questions about a 50-cent mansion. The gunshot was deafening, but Logan didn't feel anything. No pain, no impact. He was still standing. Pritchard was staring down at his chest, where a red stain was spreading across his uniform. He looked up confused, and then he fell. In the doorway stood Elise Monroe, holding a pistol in shaking hands. I lied, she said. I didn't go to the police station. I went to my car. I always carry. The 2 tactical guys dove for cover. Elise fired twice more wild shots untrained, but enough to make them hesitate. Logan grabbed Gage and ran for the door. With me, he shouted. Elise fired once more and followed. They made it to the parking lot. Elise's car was a beat-up Honda Civic. They threw themselves inside. Elise started the engine and floored it out of the parking lot as one of the tactical guys appeared in the doorway raising his tranquilizer gun. A dart hit the back window but didn't penetrate. They fishtailed onto the main road. Logan looked back. The tactical guys were running for a black SUV. They're following, Logan said. I know. Elise's hands were white-knuckled on the wheel. I just shot a state trooper. Oh God, I just killed a man. He was going to kill me. That doesn't make it better. It makes you alive. Now drive. Elise drove, fast, too fast. The Civic's engine screamed as she pushed it up to 80 on a 2-lane highway. Behind them, the black SUV was gaining. Logan pulled out his phone. I'm calling 911. Don't, Elise screamed. Pritchard radioed for backup. Every cop in the county is looking for us now. We're fugitives. Then what do we do? I don't know. Tears were streaming down her face. I don't know. This wasn't supposed to happen. I was just supposed to help you expose corruption. Not shoot people. Gage barked once from the back seat. Sharp, urgent. Logan looked back. The SUV was 50 yards behind and closing fast. The passenger window rolled down and someone leaned out holding something bulky. Gun! Logan shouted. Elise swerved. A gunshot cracked. The Civic's rear windshield spiderwebbed but held. They're trying to disable the car, Logan said. His combat mind was cataloging details: rural highway, no cover, no support, outgunned and outmaneuvered. They had maybe 2 minutes before the SUV ran them off the road or put a bullet through the engine block. Think. Think like Dad would think. What would a surveyor do when outgunned, know the terrain? Elise, where are we? Route 47. About 10 miles south of Ashford. Are there any side roads? Anything unpaved? I don't know. I'm not from Waite. Yes. There's an old logging road about a mile ahead. My friend and I used to go hiking there in college. It's barely maintained, just gravel and mud. That'll do. When you see it, take it. Don't slow down. The Civic can't handle off-road. Neither can that SUV, but we're lighter. We might make it farther before we bottom out. Another gunshot. This one hit the trunk. The logging road appeared on the right. Elise cranked the wheel, and they skidded onto gravel, fishtailing wildly. The Civic's suspension screamed in protest. Logan braced himself against the dashboard. Gage slid across the back seat. Behind them, the SUV took the turn too fast and almost rolled. Almost. It corrected and followed, but they'd gained maybe 10 seconds. The logging road deteriorated fast. Gravel turned to mud, deep ruts from old timber trucks. Elise was fighting the wheel, trying to keep them from sliding into the trees. How far does this go? Logan asked. I don't know. We never went more than a mile in. The Civic hit a pothole, and the whole car shuddered. Something under the hood started making a grinding noise. The SUV was still behind them, closer now. 20 yards. 15. Then the logging road ended. Just stopped. Trees on 3 sides. A drop-off on the 4th where the land fell away into a ravine. Elise slammed on the brakes. The Civic slid to a stop 5 feet from the edge. Oh no, she whispered. Oh no, no, no. The SUV skidded to a stop behind them. Doors opened. 3 men got out, the 2 tactical guys from the motel, plus a driver. All carrying weapons now. Not tranquilizer guns, real ones. Logan looked at Elise. Do you have more ammunition? I fired 6 shots. I only had 6 bullets. Okay. Logan's voice was calm. Too calm. The same calm he'd felt in Afghanistan right before everything went sideways. Okay. Here's what we do. When I say run, you and Gage go down that ravine. It's steep, but there's tree cover. They won't be able to get a clear shot. You get to the bottom and you keep running. Don't stop. Don't look back. What about you? I'll buy you time. Logan, no. I'm already dead. Pritchard was going to kill me back there. The only reason I'm still breathing is because you showed up, so now I'm going to make sure his friends don't catch you. Logan opened the car door. Gage, stay close. The dog jumped out and pressed against his leg. The 3 men were advancing slowly, weapons raised. Professional. Careful. The one in front spoke. Logan Hart, it's over. Come quietly and we'll make this easy. Like you made it easy for Pritchard, Logan shouted back. He knew the risks, so did your father. Red flooded Logan's vision. What did you say? Your father, Miles Hart. He knew the risks of crossing people more powerful than him. He made his choice. The man smiled. Just like you're about to make yours. Logan heard himself laugh. It sounded unhinged, even to his own ears. You think I'm scared of you? I've had better men than you try to kill me with explosives and machine guns. You're just thugs in tactical gear. Then you'll die like the others. Maybe, but I'm taking the video with me. Logan pulled out his phone and held it up. Bradley's confession, already uploaded to 3 different cloud services, already sent to 5 different news outlets. Even if you kill me, it's out there. It's over. The man's smile faltered. You're bluffing. Am I? You want to bet your boss's freedom on that? Logan took a step forward. Because Senator Voss is going down. Bradley's going down. Everyone in your little network is going down. The only question is whether you go down with them or whether you're smart enough to walk away. The three men exchanged glances. Uncertain now. Logan took another step forward. Walk away, right now. Leave the state. Change your names. Because in 24 hours, every federal agency in the country is going to be looking for you. And you really want to bet that your boss will protect you. Men like Voss don't protect their hired help. They eliminate loose ends. One of the tactical guys lowered his weapon slightly. He's right. Voss threw Pritchard under the bus the second things got messy. Shut up, the lead man snapped. But his certainty was cracking. Behind Logan, Elise's voice was quiet. Logan, the video. You didn't actually upload it yet, did you? Logan didn't turn around, didn't answer. Because she was right. He'd been planning to upload it this morning at the police station. His phone had been in his pocket during the entire motel fight. The lead man's smile came back. You're bluffing. Maybe. Logan's hand tightened on the phone. But are you sure enough to risk it? The man raised his weapon. Give me the phone. Come get it. The man took a step forward. Gage launched himself like a missile. The dog crossed the distance in 3 bounds and hit the lead man in the chest. They went down hard. The other 2 men raised their weapons, but hesitated. They couldn't shoot without hitting their partner. Logan turned and grabbed Elise. Run! They went over the edge of the ravine. Not carefully, not planned, just dropped and slid and crashed through undergrowth. Branches tore at Logan's face. He hit a tree trunk hard enough to see stars, kept sliding. Heard Gage barking above, still fighting, still buying them time. They hit the bottom, a creek bed, 6 inches of cold water flowing over rocks. Gage! Logan screamed back up the slope. Gage! A gunshot echoed through the ravine, then another, then silence. No! Logan whispered. No, no, no! Barking. Distant but alive. Gage was still fighting. Elise grabbed Logan's arm. We have to move. If we stay here, I'm not leaving him. He bought us time. Don't waste it. More barking, snarling, sounds of struggle. Then horrifyingly, a yelp of pain. Logan tried to climb back up the slope. Elise held him back with surprising strength. You go back up there, you die. Gage dies. I die. Everyone your father tried to protect dies. Is that what you want? Logan's legs stopped working. He collapsed in the creek bed, freezing water soaking through his jeans, and he couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't. A whistle cut through the air. Sharp. 2 tones. Logan's head snapped up. He knew that whistle. He'd taught Gage that whistle in Afghanistan. It meant regroup, fallback mission accomplished. Crashing through the undergrowth. Gage appeared at the top of the ravine, silhouetted against the sky, and then he was bounding down the slope, half sliding, half running, and Logan caught him at the bottom. The dog was bleeding from a dozen cuts. His left ear was torn, but his eyes were bright, and his tail was up. Good boy, Logan sobbed. Good boy, you beautiful, perfect. Logan. Elise's voice was tight. They're coming down after us. She was right. Logan could hear voices above. Tactical guys regrouping, planning their descent. This way. Elise started moving downstream. The creek leads to County Road 9. If we can get there. If we get there, they'll just pick us up in the SUV. You have a better idea. Logan looked at his phone. Cracked screen but still working. Still no upload. The video of Bradley's confession was sitting in his camera roll, useless unless they could get somewhere with cell service and time to upload it. But that wasn't going to happen, not with 3 armed men hunting them through the woods. Unless. We don't run, Logan said. What? We don't run. We can't outrun them. We can't hide from them. So we do what my father tried to do. We bring the evidence directly to someone who can use it. Who the police are compromised. The county officials are compromised. Who's left? Logan thought fast. The FBI. There's a field office in Columbia, 40 miles from here. We'll never make it 40 miles on foot. No, but if we can get back to your car. The car that's surrounded by 3 men with guns. They think we ran. They're down here looking for us. That means the car's unguarded for maybe 3 minutes. We go back up, take the car drive like hell. Elise stared at him. That's insane. You shot a state trooper 2 hours ago. We're past sane. She started laughing, high and slightly unhinged. Okay. Let's go steal my own car back from murderers. Why not? They moved fast back the way they'd come. The creek bed gave them cover. Above, Logan could hear the tactical guys crashing through the woods, spreading out to search. The slope was steep. Logan's legs burned as he climbed. Gage scrambled ahead, finding the easiest path. Elise followed, breathing hard. They reached the top. The Civic was still there. The SUV was still there, both empty. Keys, Logan whispered. Elise pulled them from her pocket. On three. They broke from cover and ran for the Civic. 20 yards. 15. 10. A shout from the woods. They're here! Elise hit the unlock button. They threw themselves inside. She jammed the key in the ignition. The engine turned over once, twice. Didn't catch. Come on! Elise begged. Come on! The tactical guys burst from the tree line, weapons raised. The engine caught. Elise threw it in reverse and floored it backward down the logging road, not even looking, just trusting momentum and luck. A bullet punched through the hood. Then another. The engine started smoking. We're not going to make it 40 miles, Elise said. We don't have to make it 40. Just get us to a town. Any town. Somewhere with people and witnesses. The Civic coughed and shuddered. The check engine light was on. The temperature gauge was redlining, but it kept moving. They hit the main highway. Elise cranked the wheel, and they skidded back onto pavement heading south. The SUV appeared behind them 3 seconds later. How far to the nearest town? Logan asked. 10 miles. Maybe less. There's a gas station with a convenience store. The engine made a grinding sound that Logan felt in his bones. White smoke started pouring from under the hood. Come on, Elise whispered. Just a little farther, please. The engine seized. The Civic's wheels locked. They skidded to a stop in the middle of the highway, smoke billowing. The SUV screeched to a stop 30 yards behind them. Logan looked at Elise, at Gage, at the phone in his hand with its cracked screen and unsent video. I'm sorry, he said. I'm sorry I got you into this. Elise shook her head. You didn't get me into anything. I've been in this for 19 years. I'm just sorry I couldn't get you out. The 3 men got out of the SUV, walking now, taking their time. They knew it was over. Logan closed his eyes, thought of his father, wondered if dying for the truth was genetic or if he'd just been stupid enough to make the same mistakes. A siren wailed in the distance. Logan's eyes snapped open. The tactical guys heard it too. They stopped, weapons lowering slightly, looking at each other. The siren got louder. A Missouri State Highway patrol car crested the hill ahead of them, lights flashing. The tactical guys looked at the approaching patrol car, looked at the Civic, made a decision. They ran back to their SUV and peeled out, heading in the opposite direction. The patrol car pulled up alongside the smoking Civic. A young officer got out, looking concerned. You folks okay? Your engine's on fire. Officer, Logan interrupted, pulling out his phone. I need you to call the FBI. Right now. I have evidence of corruption involving a state senator, multiple murders, and a network of... Slow down, sir. Let's just focus on getting you out of the vehicle before... I need the FBI. Logan was shouting now, months of trauma and fear and rage pouring out. My name is Logan Hart. My father was murdered 19 years ago by Mayor Harold Bradley of Ashford. I have a video confession. People are trying to kill us. We need FBI, now! The officer's hand moved to his weapon. Sir, I need you to calm. Elise held up her hands. I'm Elise Monroe, investigative journalist. Everything he's saying is true. Please, we need help. The officer looked between them, at Gage bleeding in the back seat, at the smoke pouring from the Civic's hood, at two people who looked like they'd been through hell. Stay here, he said finally. He walked back to his patrol car and got on his radio. Logan couldn't hear what he was saying, could only wait, phone clutched in his hand, wondering if this officer was clean or compromised, if they'd just escaped one trap to walk into another. The officer came back. FBI is sending agents from the Columbia office. ETA 20 minutes. You're going to wait with me until they arrive. Thank you, Elise breathed. The officer nodded slowly, then quietly. My uncle was a surveyor in Cedar County. He died in a car accident in 2003. The brake lines were cut. Everyone said it was an accident, but my family never believed it. If what you're saying is true, it's true, Logan said. Then you better hope those FBI agents get here fast, because every cop in Missouri with a radio just heard your name. They waited. Logan uploaded the video to YouTube while they waited, made it public, copied the link and sent it to every news outlet he could think of, sent it to his old Marine buddies, posted it on social media, anywhere, everywhere. By the time the FBI arrived, the video had 50,000 views. By the time they reached the Columbia field office, it had 500,000. By morning, Senator Richard Voss was in federal custody. Mayor Harold Bradley had surrendered, and Logan Hart's 50-cent mansion was the most famous house in Missouri, but that morning was still hours away. For now, Logan sat in the back of an FBI vehicle with Gage pressed against his side and Elise Monroe asleep on his shoulder, and he finally let himself believe it might be over. Dad, he whispered to no one. I finished it. I'm sorry it took so long, but I finished it. Gage's tail thumped once against the seat, and for the first time in 8 years, Logan felt something close to peace. The peace lasted exactly 6 hours. Logan woke up in a FBI safe house outside Columbia to the sound of his phone exploding with notifications, thousands of them. The video had gone viral overnight, 3 million views and climbing. News outlets were calling it the biggest political corruption scandal in Missouri history. Senator Voss's name was trending nationwide. Bradley's face was on every major network, but it was the text message that made Logan's blood run cold. Unknown number. 3 words. Check your email. Logan opened his email with hands that had started shaking again. The message had no sender name, no subject line, just a video attachment. He pressed play. The video showed a woman tied to a chair in what looked like a basement. Her face was bruised, blood dripped from her nose, but her eyes were defiant, angry. Logan didn't recognize her until she spoke. Logan Hart, if you're watching this, they have me. My name is Sarah Chen. I'm the journalist who was helping Elise Monroe trace the shell companies. They grabbed me from my apartment in Chicago yesterday. They want... Someone off camera hit her, hard. Sarah's head snapped to the side. A voice spoke, male, cultured, calm. Mr. Hart, you've created quite a spectacle. 3 million people have now seen Mayor Bradley's confession. Very impressive. But you've made a critical error. You assumed that arresting 2 men would dismantle an entire network. It won't. The camera panned to show a second chair, empty, waiting. This is Ms. Chen's chair. The empty chair is for Ms. Monroe. We know where she is. We know where you are. The FBI can't protect you forever. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to issue a public statement saying the video was fabricated, that you were experiencing a PTSD episode, that Mayor Bradley is innocent. You have 24 hours. If you comply, Ms. Chen lives. If you don't, we'll send you pieces of her, starting with fingers. The video cut to black. Logan dropped the phone like it had burned him. His breath came in short gasps. The walls of the safe house suddenly felt too close, too small, and he was back in Afghanistan, trapped in a building with insurgents closing in, no way out, no backup coming. "Logan," Elise's voice from the doorway. "What's wrong?" He couldn't speak, just handed her the phone. She watched the video. Her face went white. "Oh God, Sarah. They have Sarah. They want me to recant everything. Say the video was fake." "You can't do that. They're going to kill her if I don't. They're going to kill her anyway." Elise's voice cracked. "Don't you see? They can't let her live. She knows too much. The moment you recant, they'll execute her and blame it on us. They'll say we kidnapped her to force the confession. We'll go from whistleblowers to terrorists." Logan's hands were shaking so badly he had to sit down. "Then what do we do?" "We find her. We get her back." "How? We don't even know where she is." Elise was already pulling out her laptop. "The video. There might be metadata. Or background details we can use to—" The safe house door burst open. FBI Special Agent Marcus Webb walked in with 3 other agents. His face was grim. "We need to talk. Now." Logan stood up. "Did you see the video?" "What video?" Logan showed him. Webb watched it twice, his expression getting darker each time. "When did you receive this?" 5 minutes ago." Webb turned to one of his agents. "Trace the sender. I want to know where this came from." He looked back at Logan. "This changes everything. We can't keep you here. If they know where you are—" "They do know." Elise interrupted. "They said so in the video." "Then we need to move you, both of you, somewhere more secure while we—" "No." Logan's voice was flat. "We're not running. Not while they have Sarah. Mr. Hart, you're not a federal agent. You're a witness under protection. You don't get to make operational decisions. I'm a Marine who spent 4 years hunting insurgents in urban environments. I know how to find people who don't want to be found. And I'm not sitting in a safe house while someone dies because of me." Webb's jaw tightened. "If you leave protective custody, I can't guarantee your safety." "I don't care about my safety. I care about finding Sarah Chen before they start cutting off her fingers." "We'll find her. We have the resources." "You have bureaucracy," Logan shot back. "Forms and procedures and interagency coordination. Sarah doesn't have time for that. She has 24 hours, maybe less." Elise stepped forward. "Agent Webb, I've been investigating this network for 2 years. I know how they operate. They don't make idle threats. If they say they're going to hurt Sarah, they will, and your bureau's official channels won't move fast enough to stop them." Webb looked between them. Something shifted in his expression, not approval exactly, but recognition. "Off the record." "Off the record," Logan confirmed. "I have a daughter Sarah's age. If someone took her—" Webb exhaled slowly. "The video came from a server in St. Louis. We're tracing it now, but these people are smart. They'll have bounced it through multiple proxies. Even if we find the server location, it won't lead us to Sarah." "What about the video itself?" Elise asked. "Background sounds, visual details, anything that could narrow down the location." One of the other agents spoke up, a young woman with sharp eyes. "I can run an analysis. Audio forensics might pick up something. Give me an hour." Webb nodded. "Do it. Fast." He turned back to Logan. "You want to help find her, fine. But you do exactly what I say. You don't go rogue. You don't make decisions without clearing them through me first. Understood?" "Understood." "Good. Because the people who took Sarah aren't amateurs. They're connected, well-funded, and they've killed at least 4 surveyors we know about. Probably more we don't. They won't hesitate to kill you, too." Logan thought about his father. About brake lines cut on a dark road. About 19 years of silence and buried truth. "I know," he said quietly. "That's why we have to move fast." The next hour was a blur of activity. The audio analyst found something background noise in the video that matched traffic patterns near an industrial district in South St. Louis. A freight train horn at the 47-second mark matched the schedule for the Union Pacific line that ran through the area. And there was something else, a faint chemical smell that the analyst identified as phenol common in manufacturing facilities. There are 12 industrial properties in that area, Webb said, pulling up a map. Most of them are abandoned or minimally operational. We can get warrants and search teams, but that takes time. How much time? Elise asked. 6 hours, maybe 8 if a judge pushes back. Sarah doesn't have 8 hours. Webb's face was stone. I know, but if we go in without proper authorization, anything we find gets thrown out in court. These people walk. Logan stared at the map. 12 properties. Too many to search quickly, especially if they were large industrial facilities. But if they could narrow it down... Elise, Logan said suddenly. The shell companies you traced. Midwest Development Solutions. What properties did they own in St. Louis? Elise pulled out her laptop and started typing fast. Give me a minute. I have a database of all their holdings, but it's... Okay, here. 3 properties in South St. Louis. 2 are residential developments. 1 is listed as a warehouse facility. Address: 2847 Industrial Parkway. Webb was already on his radio. I need satellite imagery of 2847 Industrial Parkway, St. Louis. Priority 1. He looked at Logan. If you're wrong about this... I'm not wrong. They'd use a property they control. Somewhere they can operate without witnesses. Somewhere they've probably used before. The satellite images came through on Webb's tablet. The warehouse was large, 3 stories, surrounded by a chain-link fence. 2 vehicles in the parking lot. Lights on in the basement level. That's it, Logan said with certainty he couldn't explain. That's where she is. Webb studied the images. We go in with a full tactical team. Hostage rescue protocols. You 2 stay with the command vehicle. No. Logan's voice was hard. I'm going in. You're not trained for... I'm trained for exactly this. 4 years of close quarters combat, 200 clearing operations, and I have Gage. Logan looked at the dog who'd been lying quietly in the corner. He can detect explosives, weapons, and people through walls. You want to go in blind, or you want to go in with every advantage? Webb hesitated. Logan could see the calculation happening behind his eyes. Protocol versus pragmatism, rules versus results. If I let you come, Webb said slowly, you follow orders. You don't engage unless I clear it. You're an asset, not an operator. The second you become a liability, I pull you out. Clear. Clear. Then gear up. We move in 20 minutes. They drove to St. Louis in a convoy of black SUVs. Logan sat in the back with Gage checking the tactical vest Webb had given him. It felt strange to be wearing body armor again. Strange and familiar all at once. Like putting on a skin he'd tried to shed. Elise was in the vehicle ahead with 2 agents. Webb had wanted to leave her at the safe house, but she'd refused. Sarah's my friend, she'd said. My source. If she's in there because of my investigation, I'm not staying behind. They parked 3 blocks from the warehouse. The tactical team assembled fast and quiet 12 agents in full gear night vision suppressed weapons. Logan felt a sharp pang of nostalgia watching them work. This had been his life once. This clarity of purpose, this focus on the mission. Webb gathered them for a brief. Satellite shows 2 heat signatures on the basement level. Could be hostage and guard. Could be 2 guards. We don't know the layout beyond what blueprints show, and those are from 1987, so they're probably outdated. Expect modifications. Expect resistance. Rules of engagement are standard. We're here for hostage rescue. Anyone pointing a weapon at you or the hostage is a threat. Everyone else gets cuffed and questioned. Questions. One of the agents raised his hand. What about the civilian? He nodded at Logan. Hart and his K9 will enter after we've secured the ground floor. The dog will help us locate the hostage and clear remaining rooms. Hart does not engage unless absolutely necessary. He's an asset, not a shooter." Logan nodded. He could live with that. All he wanted was Sarah out alive. They moved on foot through the dark. The warehouse loomed ahead, windows dark except for faint light bleeding through basement-level openings. The chain-link fence was old, rusted, easy to cut. Webb's team split into 3 groups: front entry, rear entry, and a sniper team taking position on the building across the street. Logan and Gage stayed with Webb's group at the front. "Breach in 3, Webb whispered into his radio. 2, 1, go." The doors blew simultaneously, front and rear. Flashbangs detonated inside. Logan heard shouting, then gunfire. 3 shots, 4, then silence. "Ground floor secure," came the radio call. 2 hostiles down. No sign of hostage. Webb gestured to Logan. "You're up." Logan and Gage entered the warehouse. The interior smelled like old concrete and rust, and something else, fear. The kind of smell that came from people who'd suffered here. Gage's nose was working, searching. The dog moved through the ground floor, quickly dismissing empty offices and storage rooms. Then he stopped at a door marked Maintenance. His ears went forward. He scratched once at the door. "Basement stairs," Webb said quietly. "Could be the hostage. Could be more hostiles waiting." Gage scratched again, insistent. "She's down there," Logan said. Webb nodded to his team. They stacked up on the door, 4 agents with weapons ready. One of them pulled the door open. Nothing. Just stairs descending into darkness. The lead agent started down. Logan followed with Gage. Each step felt wrong, like descending into a mouth that might close at any moment. The basement was colder than the ground floor. Concrete walls, exposed pipes overhead, and at the far end a room with light bleeding under the door. Gage pulled toward it, tail stiff, body tense. Webb held up a fist stop. He moved to the door and listened. Then he tried the handle. Unlocked. That should have been a warning. Nothing had been easy so far. Why would this be? Webb pushed the door open. The room beyond was empty except for a chair. The chair from the video. But Sarah wasn't in it. Instead, there was a laptop sitting on the chair. Screen glowing. A video playing on loop. Logan recognized Sarah's voice before he saw her on the screen. "Logan Hart. If you're watching this in person, you fell for the trap. They're coming for you now. Run. Just run." The explosion wasn't large, just big enough to blow out the doorframe and drop part of the ceiling. Logan felt the concussive wave hit him like a physical thing. He was airborne, flying backward, and then he hit the concrete hard enough to see stars. His ears were ringing. Couldn't hear. Couldn't breathe. Gage was barking. He could see the dog's mouth moving, but couldn't hear anything except a high-pitched whine. Logan rolled onto his side. Dust filled the air, thick and choking. Through the haze he saw Webb pulling himself up, blood running down the side of his face. 2 of the agents weren't moving, and then through the dust, Logan saw them, 4 men in tactical gear, descending the stairs with weapons raised. Not FBI, not police, the network's private security. The trap had worked perfectly. They'd lured the FBI to a location they controlled, and now they were going to eliminate everyone who knew too much. Logan's hand went to his belt, searching for the sidearm Webb had given him. Found it. Pulled it free. The first man through the door took 2 rounds center mass. His body armor stopped the bullets, but the impact knocked him back into the man behind him. Webb was up now, firing. 3-round burst. Professional. Controlled. The second man went down. But there were more. Always more. Logan could hear boots on the stairs. How many had they brought? 6'8" Gage launched himself at the third man, jaws, finding the unprotected area between helmet and body armor. The man screamed and went down, trying to pull the dog off. Logan fired again. Again. The slide locked back empty. He dropped the pistol and grabbed the fallen agent's weapon, an MP5. He knew this weapon, had trained on it. The muscle memory came back instant and automatic. 2 more men came through the door. Logan fired a burst. 1 went down. The other dove for cover behind the overturned chair. Webb threw a flashbang. It detonated with a crack that Logan felt in his chest. Through his still ringing ears, he heard someone screaming. Not English. Russian, maybe. "Fall back," Webb shouted. "We're outnumbered. Fall back to the stairs." Logan grabbed Gage's collar and pulled. The dog resisted, still wanted to fight, but Logan yanked harder. They stumbled toward the stairs through dust and smoke and the copper smell of blood. Something hit Logan in the shoulder. Not a bullet the body armor held. But the impact spun him around, and he lost his grip on Gage. The dog kept running toward the stairs, but Logan went down on one knee, weapon coming up automatically to engage the threat. The man who'd shot him was reloading. Logan fired first. The man dropped. "Logan!" Elise's voice from somewhere above. "Get up here!" Logan forced himself to his feet and ran. His shoulder felt like someone had hit it with a hammer. His ears were still ringing. His vision kept tunneling at the edges. He hit the stairs and started climbing. Halfway up, something exploded below another charge bigger than the first. The stairwell filled with dust and debris. Logan felt the stairs shift under him, concrete cracking. He made it to the top just as the stairwell collapsed. Webb pulled him through the maintenance door and slammed it shut. "We need to evacuate, now. The whole building might come down." They ran through the ground floor. The tactical team was laying down suppressive fire at the rear entrance. More hostiles had appeared, cutting off their escape route. "Front entrance!" Webb shouted. "Move, move, move!" They hit the front door and spilled out into the night. Logan's ears were finally clearing enough to hear sirens in the distance. Local police responding to the explosions. Backup arriving too late. But they were out. They were alive. Logan counted heads. 8 agents had gone in. 6 had come out. 2 were still inside, dead or dying in the collapsed basement. "Where's Sarah?" Elise asked, and her voice was small, broken. "Where is she?" Logan didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Because the truth was obvious now, Sarah had never been in that warehouse. The video had been bait. The empty chair had been bait. Everything had been designed to lure them into a kill box. And it had almost worked. Webb was on his radio calling for medical and backup. His face was pale under the blood and dust. "We need to regroup. Get back to..." His phone rang. He answered it. Listened. His expression went from grim to horrified. "When..." A pause. "How many casualties?" Another pause. "Jesus Christ." He hung up and looked at Logan. "While we were here, they hit the FBI field office in Columbia. Car bomb in the parking garage. 6 dead, 12 injured. The entire server room is gone. Every piece of evidence we had on Voss and the network gone." Logan felt the world tilt. The video. Bradley's confession. Backed up on those servers, along with everything else. Webb's voice was hollow. "They knew we'd trace the fake Sarah video to this warehouse. They knew we'd send our best people. And while we were distracted, they destroyed the evidence and killed our people." "But the video's still online," Elise said desperately. "YouTube, social media. A video can be explained away, called a deepfake, dismissed as propaganda. Without the supporting evidence, without the physical documents, without the chain of custody." Webb shook his head. "We've got nothing that'll hold up in federal court." "So, Voss walks..." Logan's voice was dangerously quiet. "Voss is already out. Posted bail 3 hours ago. His lawyers are calling this a politically motivated witch hunt. And without hard evidence..." Webb looked like he wanted to punch something. "We lost. They won." Logan stared at this burning warehouse. At the place where 2 FBI agents had just died. At the place where he'd almost died. All for nothing. No, not for nothing. "Sarah," Logan said. "If she wasn't here, where is she?" Webb pulled up his phone. The original video came from a server in St. Louis. But the actual recording, let me check. He was typing fast. The metadata shows it was recorded on a phone, uploaded from an IP address registered to an apartment building downtown. What address? Webb hesitated. Logan, you can't just... What address? 1425 Market Street, apartment 6C. Webb grabbed Logan's arm. You're not going there. It's too dangerous. They've proven they can outthink us, outplan us. They outplanned the FBI. Logan interrupted. They didn't outplan a pissed-off Marine with nothing left to lose. He looked at Elise. You should stay with Webb. This isn't... Don't. Elise cut him off. Don't you dare tell me to stay safe. Sarah's my friend. My responsibility. I'm coming with you. Webb looked between them. I can't authorize this. Then don't. We're not asking for authorization. Logan checked the MP5 he'd taken from the warehouse. Still had half a magazine. We're asking for an address, which you already gave us. If you go after them without backup, then we go without backup, but we're going. Logan whistled for Gage. The dog appeared from the shadows, limping slightly, but eyes bright. You coming? Webb was silent for a long moment. Then, my daughter's name is Emma. She's 23. Journalism student at Mizzou. If someone took her... He pulled out his sidearm and checked the magazine. I'm coming with you. But this is off the books. If it goes wrong, I was never there. Understood. Understood. They took one of the FBI vehicles, a black SUV with enough firepower in the back to start a small war. Webb drove. Logan rode shotgun with Gage in his lap, checking weapons. Elise sat in back, white-knuckled but determined. If she's already dead, Elise started. She's not, Logan said, with more confidence than he felt. They're keeping her alive for leverage. As long as we're a threat, she has value. And if we stop being a threat... Logan didn't answer that. They reached the apartment building in 15 minutes. Modern high-rise, expensive. The kind of place that had security cameras and doormen and people who minded their own business. Webb flashed his badge at the doorman. FBI. We need access to apartment 6C. The doorman's face went pale. Is there a problem? That depends on what we find upstairs. The elevator ride felt like it took hours. Logan counted his breaths. In for 4, hold for 7, out for 8. The breathing exercise the VA therapist had taught him. It didn't help. The elevator dinged. 6th floor. They moved down the hallway fast and quiet. Apartment 6C was at the end. No sounds from inside. Webb listened at the door, shook his head nothing. He tried the handle. Locked. Logan gestured for Webb to step aside. He kicked the door just below the handle. The frame splintered. The door flew open. The apartment was dark. Empty. No furniture. No signs anyone had been here in months. Except in the bedroom. Sarah Chen was tied to a chair in the center of the empty room. Duct tape over her mouth. Her eyes were wide with fear and relief. Logan ran to her, pulling the tape off gently. Are you hurt? Behind you, Sarah gasped. Logan spun. A man stood in the doorway. Tall, silver hair, expensive suit. Senator Richard Voss. He was holding a pistol. Not raised, not threatening, just held casually like it was a natural extension of his hand. Mr. Hart, Voss said with a smile. I've been waiting to meet you. Webb's weapon came up. Drop it, Senator, now. I don't think so, Agent Webb. You see, I'm not actually here. I'm in Washington, D.C. right now, attending a committee meeting. I have 36 witnesses who'll testify to that. So whatever happens in this room, whatever you think you saw, never happened. Voss's smile widened. The beauty of having resources is being able to be in 2 places at once. You hired a double, Elise breathed. You've been using doubles this whole time. Among other precautions, did you really think a man in my position would risk exposure by doing his own dirty work? Voss gestured at Sarah with his pistol. Ms. Chen was kind enough to provide me with quite a bit of information before we recorded that video. Names of sources, locations of documents, everything she and Ms. Monroe had compiled over 2 years of investigation. Very thorough. Very unfortunate for you. You're going down, Logan said. The video's out there. Millions of people have seen it. A video that my lawyers will prove is a deepfake created by a mentally unstable veteran with a grudge against public officials. The supporting evidence has been destroyed. The witnesses are discredited. And by tomorrow morning, I'll be on every news channel explaining how this entire scandal is a tragic example of PTSD-driven paranoia. Voss raised the pistol slightly. Now here's what happens next. You're all going to die in this apartment. Ms. Chen first for being in the wrong place. Then Agent Webb killed in the line of duty by a disturbed veteran. Then Ms. Monroe and Mr. Hart will be remembered as domestic terrorists who killed a federal agent before turning their weapons on each other. It's a tragedy. It'll dominate the news cycle for a week, and then everyone will forget. Except you won't pull the trigger, Logan said quietly, because you're not actually here. You hired someone to look like you, to sound like you, but you'd never risk being in the same room when people die. You're too careful, too smart. Voss's smile faltered, and Logan saw it the micro-expression that gave it away. This wasn't Voss. It was someone wearing Voss's face. Voss's suit speaking with Voss's voice. But the mannerisms were slightly off. The confidence slightly forced. You're a decoy, Logan said. You're here to tie up loose ends while the real Voss establishes his alibi, which means you're expendable too. The man's expression flickered uncertainty, then fear. They won't let you live, Logan continued. You know too much. You've seen too much. The moment you complete this job, you're a liability. Just like Sarah. Just like my father. Just like everyone who gets close to the truth. Shut up, the man said, but his voice wavered. How much did he pay you? 100,000, $500,000? Whatever it was, it's not enough. Because you're about to commit quadruple homicide. That's federal death penalty. And when they catch you, not if, when Voss will deny knowing you. He'll call you a lone wolf, a deranged fan, and you'll die in a supermax prison wondering why you trusted a senator who's killed every person who ever worked for him. The man's pistol wavered. Not much, but enough. Or, Logan said, you put down the weapon. You testify against Voss. You get immunity and witness protection. You get to live. They'll kill me anyway. Not if you help us kill them first. The man looked at Sarah, at Webb, at Logan, calculating his chances, weighing his options. He lowered the pistol. Okay, he said. Okay. What do you want to know? Logan exhaled. His hands were shaking again. He'd been bluffing, had no idea if anything he'd said was true. But it had worked. Start with Voss's location. Webb said, weapons still trained on the man. His real location. The estate, 20 miles outside Jefferson City. He's meeting with the rest of the network tonight. Emergency summit. They're deciding what to do about the video. How many people? Voss plus 6 others. State officials, developers, a federal judge. Everyone who's profited from the land fraud over the past 30 years. Elise pulled out her phone and started recording. Names. I need names. All of them. The man started talking. Names spilled out. People Logan had never heard of, people Elise clearly recognized from her investigation. Each name, another piece of the network, another link in the chain. When he finished, Webb was already on his radio calling for backup. I need tactical teams converging on Senator Voss's estate outside Jefferson City. Consider all subjects armed and dangerous. This is priority. His radio crackled, then went dead. They're jamming us, Webb said grimly. They know we're coming. Then we go anyway, Logan said. Fast before they scatter. We don't have the resources for a raid on a fortified estate. You have me. You have Gage. You have 3 pissed-off people who refuse to let these bastards win. Logan checked his weapon. That's enough. Webb looked like he wanted to argue, but whatever he saw in Logan's face stopped him. Okay, Webb said finally. But we do this smart. We do this careful. And we do this together. They left the Voss double zip-tied in the apartment with Sarah, who was calling 911 and every news outlet she could reach. Logan paused at the door. Sarah, the truth gets out. No matter what happens to us, promise me. I promise, she said, and there were tears in her eyes. Thank you. Thank you for coming back for me. Logan nodded. He didn't trust himself to speak. They drove through the night toward Jefferson City, toward the estate, toward the final confrontation with people who'd killed 4 surveyors and countless others to protect their secrets. Logan sat in the back with Gage staring out at the dark Missouri landscape rolling past. He thought about his father, about a man who'd found corruption and tried to expose it and died for his courage. Dad, Logan whispered, I'm going to finish this, one way or another, I promise. Gage's tail thumped once against the seat, and Logan felt his father's presence like a hand on his shoulder, guiding him toward the truth one last time. The estate appeared ahead, lit up against the night sky. They were almost out of time, but they were also out of options. This ended tonight. They cut the headlights a mile from the estate and rolled to a stop behind a grove of trees. Webb killed the engine. For a moment, nobody spoke. They just sat there in the darkness, listening to the tick of the cooling engine and the sound of their own breathing. Logan's phone buzzed. Sarah's name on the screen. We're live, she said without preamble. Every major outlet. I sent them everything, the recordings, the names, the confession from the double. It's spreading faster than they can contain it. How long until it reaches critical mass? It already has. Twitter's exploding. Hashtag Voss corruption is trending nationally. CNN's running a breaking news banner. They can't bury this anymore. Logan felt something loosen in his chest. Then we just need to keep them in that house long enough for the real authorities to arrive. Logan? Sarah's voice dropped. Be careful. These people have nothing left to lose now. Neither do I. He hung up and looked at Webb. What's the play? Webb pulled out a tablet showing satellite imagery of the estate. Main house, guest house, security building. 3 points of entry we can see. Probably more we can't. Security team of at least 6, possibly more. And 7 targets inside who know we're coming. They'll have weapons, Elise said quietly. Private security. Maybe military contractors. Definitely military contractors. Webb zoomed in on 2 figures patrolling the perimeter. I recognize the formation. These guys are professionals. Logan studied the image. The estate was built on a hill surrounded by open ground on 3 sides. No cover approach. Any frontal assault would be suicide. But there was a service road along the eastern edge partially hidden by trees. It led to what looked like a maintenance building near the main house. There, Logan said, pointing. Service entrance. Probably for staff and deliveries. Less fortified than the main gate. Still guarded. Which is where Gage comes in. Logan looked at the dog. He can scout ahead. Mark positions. Give us intel on how many we're facing. Webb considered this. You can control him remotely. Not remotely, but I can send him ahead and he'll report back. We used this tactic in Afghanistan when we needed to clear buildings without exposing the squad. How long do we have before local police arrive? Sarah said she called it in. 20 minutes, maybe 30. These are rural counties, they don't have rapid response teams. And federal backup. An hour, minimum. Logan checked his weapon. Then we go now, fast and quiet. Get inside, get eyes on Voss and the others, keep them contained until the cavalry arrives. And if they resist... Logan looked at Webb. His voice was flat when he answered. Then they resist. They moved through the darkness in tactical formation, Webb on point, Logan and Gage in the middle. Elise bringing up the rear with a pistol she clearly wasn't comfortable holding. They stayed low, moving tree to tree, using every scrap of cover. The service road appeared ahead. A single guard stood at the entrance smoking a cigarette. He looked bored, unprepared. Logan signaled Gage. The dog melted into the shadows and circled wide, approaching from the guard's blind spot. The man never saw him coming, never heard him. One moment he was standing there. The next, Gage had him by the arm, pulling him down silently into the underbrush. By the time Logan reached them, the guard was unconscious, zip-tied and bleeding from where Gage's teeth had found flesh. "Good boy," Logan whispered. They moved faster now. Through the service entrance, past maintenance sheds and equipment storage. The main house loomed ahead, every window lit. Logan could hear voices inside. Angry voices, people arguing. Webb held up a fist stop. He pressed against the wall and peered through a window. "I count 6 people in what looks like a study. Can't see faces clearly, but wait." He pulled out his phone and took several photos through the glass. "Got them. Sending to Sarah for identification." Logan's phone buzzed seconds later. Sarah had annotated the photo: Senator Richard Voss, State Representative Ann Holloway, Federal Judge Marcus Chen, 3 developers whose names appeared repeatedly in the fraudulent deeds. "That's 5, Elise whispered. The double said 7. 2 are missing, Webb confirmed. Either they left early or they're somewhere else in the house. Logan watched through the window. Voss was speaking, gesturing aggressively. The others looked worried, scared even. One of the developers kept checking his phone, shaking his head. "They're watching the news," Logan realized. "They know it's over." "Which makes them desperate," Webb said. "Desperate people do stupid things." As if to prove his point, one of the developers suddenly stood up and walked toward what looked like a bar. He opened a drawer and pulled out a pistol. "We need to move," Webb said, "before they start." The developer pressed the gun to his own temple and pulled the trigger. The sound was muffled through the glass, but unmistakable. The man's body crumpled. The others in the room scattered, shouting, panicking. Elise turned away, hand over her mouth. Logan felt bile rising, but forced it down. He'd seen men die before. He'd seen them die badly. But this was different. This was a man choosing death over facing consequences. "We go in now," Webb said. "While they're distracted, Logan, you and Gage take the east entrance. I'll go through the front. Elise, you stay." "No." Elise's voice was shaky but determined. "I didn't come this far to hide in the bushes." Webb looked like he wanted to argue, didn't. "Fine, with me, but you stay behind me and you don't engage unless I tell you to." They split up. Logan and Gage moved around the house to the east side, found a door unlocked ajar. Someone had run out in a panic. Logan pushed it open slowly. Hallway beyond, empty. Voices echoing from deeper in the house. He moved forward, weapon up, Gage at his side. The hallway opened into a large kitchen, industrial size, and standing at the center island, pouring himself a drink with shaking hands, was Mayor Bradley. He looked up as Logan entered. Their eyes met. For a moment, neither man moved. "I suppose you've won," Bradley said finally. His voice was tired, defeated. "The video's everywhere. My face is on every news channel. My wife, my children, they're seeing what I am, what I've always been. A murderer. A survivor." Bradley took a long drink. "Your father didn't understand that. He thought truth was more important than survival. He was wrong." Logan's finger tightened on the trigger. It would be so easy. One shot. Justice for his father. For the other surveyors. For everyone Bradley had destroyed. "Do it," Bradley said, spreading his arms. "You want to. I can see it in your eyes. The same eyes your father had when he realized what I'd done. The same righteous anger. My father didn't try to kill you. No, he tried to expose me. Which amounts to the same thing in my world." Bradley set down his glass. "You think I'm evil, a monster, but I'm just a man who made choices, who did what he had to do to protect what he'd built. You killed people." I eliminated threats. There's a difference. Not to me. Bradley laughed. It was a hollow sound. Then pull the trigger. Do what your father couldn't. End this. Logan's hand was shaking. He wanted to. God, he wanted to. But something stopped him. Maybe it was training. Maybe it was morality. Maybe it was just the memory of his father saying once when Logan was young, "Violence is sometimes necessary, son. But revenge, that's just poison you drink yourself." "No," Logan said, lowering the weapon slightly. "You don't get to die like a martyr. You're going to face trial. You're going to answer for what you did. And spend the rest of my life in prison. That's your justice. That's the law. The law." Bradley's smile was bitter. "The same law I manipulated for 30 years. The same law that let Voss and the others steal millions while people like your father died for trying to stop them. You really think the law will give you justice?" Before Logan could answer, gunfire erupted from the front of the house. 3 shots, 4, then shouting. Logan ran toward the sound, Gage beside him. Bradley called after him. "They won't let themselves be taken. They'll burn this whole house down before they—" An explosion cut him off. Not gunfire, something bigger. The entire house shuddered. Logan burst into the study where he'd seen the meeting. Webb was there pinning Judge Chen against the wall. Elise was standing over State Representative Holloway, who was on the ground clutching her leg. And in the far corner, one of the developers was holding something that looked like a detonator. "Nobody moves!" the developer screamed. "Nobody moves or I blow us all to hell." Webb's voice was calm, practiced. "Sir, put down the device. Whatever you think you're solving." "Solving? I'm not solving anything. It's over. We're finished. But I'm not going to prison. None of us are." The man's finger hovered over the detonator button. "There are charges throughout the house. Basement, first floor, second floor. Enough to bring down the whole structure. We all die together. That's the only way this ends with dignity." "There's no dignity in murder-suicide," Logan said. "There's no dignity in what they'll do to us either." The developer was crying now. "Do you know what happens to people like us in federal prison? We're not street criminals. We're not equipped for that world. We'll be torn apart. Better to die here. Better to—" A gunshot. The developer's hand jerked. The detonator fell. Logan watched it tumble through the air in slow motion. Watched it hit the ground. Watched the developer collapse, blood spreading from the wound in his chest. Bradley stood in the doorway, smoking pistol in hand. "I'm not dying because you lost your nerve, Marcus." He fired again. The bullet hit the detonator, smashing it to pieces. Then, Bradley turned the gun on himself and fired a third time. He was dead before he hit the ground. The room fell silent except for Holloway's whimpering and the sound of sirens in the distance. Finally, the real police. The real backup. Webb was already on his radio. "Suspects contained. Multiple casualties. Send medical and bomb disposal. Repeat bomb disposal. The building may be rigged." Logan stood there, weapon lowered, staring at Bradley's body. The man who'd killed his father. The man who'd orchestrated decades of corruption and murder, dead by his own hand. It should have felt like victory. It should have felt like justice. It felt like nothing at all. "Logan?" Elise's voice pulled him back. "We need to leave. If there really are explosives—" "There are." The voice came from the hallway. A man Logan didn't recognize stepped into view, hands raised. "I'm the security chief. The charges are real. Marcus wasn't bluffing. But they're on a timer, not a detonator. You have 15 minutes before this entire estate goes up." "Can you disarm them?" Webb demanded. "Not in 15 minutes. Maybe not at all. They're professionally installed, military grade. Voss had them put in 6 months ago as a failsafe. If the network ever got exposed, he wanted to make sure the evidence burned with him." "Where is Voss?" Logan asked. The security chief pointed to the ceiling. "Second floor, private study. He's been up there for the last 20 minutes, making phone calls, burning documents. He knows it's over." Logan was already moving toward the stairs. Webb called after him. "Logan, we need to evacuate. We don't have time. I need 2 minutes." "You don't have 2 minutes." But Logan was already climbing. Gage followed, and together they took the stairs 3 at a time. The second-floor hallway was filled with smoke. Someone had started a fire in one of the rooms. Logan pushed through it, eyes watering, until he found a door marked Private. He kicked it open. Senator Richard Voss stood behind a mahogany desk feeding documents into a shredder. He looked up as Logan entered, and his expression was almost amused. "Mr. Hart, I wondered when you'd arrive. Come to arrest me, to deliver some heroic speech about justice. I came to make sure you don't escape. Escape to where you've destroyed everything I built. My reputation, my network, my legacy. There's nowhere left to run." Voss fed another document into the shredder. "But I'll die knowing something you'll never understand. I was right. The system is broken. The law is a joke. People like your father, honest, principled, naive people, they're relics. The future belongs to men who understand that power is the only truth that matters." "You're going to prison." "Ying. Am I? Are you certain about that?" Voss's smile widened. "Even now my lawyers are preparing appeals. My friends in Washington are making calls. By tomorrow they'll be calling this a politically motivated witch hunt. They'll question the evidence. They'll attack your credibility. And piece by piece, they'll dismantle your case until there's nothing left but reasonable doubt." The video is everywhere. Deepfakes are everywhere too. My experts will testify that Bradley's confession was manufactured, that you manipulated a disturbed man experiencing dementia into saying what you wanted. Sarah has the documents, the deeds, the paper trail, which I'll claim were forgeries created by a disgruntled journalist with a history of making false accusations. Every witness you have can be discredited. Every piece of evidence can be challenged. And all I need is one sympathetic judge, one jury with reasonable doubt, and I walk free. Voss leaned forward. "You haven't won, Logan. You've just delayed the inevitable." Logan raised his weapon. "You're right about one thing. The system is broken. The law is a joke. Which means maybe the only real justice is the kind I deliver right now. Go ahead. Prove me right. Prove that when the system fails, violence is all that remains. Pull that trigger and become exactly what I always said. You were: a damaged veteran, too broken to understand the difference between war and civilization." Logan's finger was on the trigger. His hand was steady. No shaking now. Just cold clarity and the memory of his father's face, and the knowledge that Voss was probably right about the system being too corrupt to deliver real justice. But his father's voice was in his head again. Violence is sometimes necessary, but revenge is just poison. "No," Logan said, lowering the weapon. "You don't get a martyr's death. You're going to face trial. And even if your lawyers get you off, even if you walk free, everyone will know what you are. Your children will know. Your grandchildren will know. Your name will be synonymous with corruption forever. That's the justice you've earned." Voss's smile faltered. For the first time, Logan saw genuine fear in the man's eyes. 10 minutes. Webb's voice echoed from downstairs. "Logan, we're out of time." Logan backed toward the door. "Come on. You're coming with us." "No." Voss sat down in his chair. "No, I don't think I am. You're under arrest. I'm a United States Senator. You're a civilian with a gun and a vendetta. You have no authority to arrest me." Voss pulled open a desk drawer. "And I have no intention of leaving this house." He pulled out a pistol. Logan's weapon came up automatically. "Don't." "You said it yourself. The system is broken. The law is a joke, which means this is the only option left that preserves any dignity." Voss aimed the pistol at Logan. "I'm not going to prison, and I'm not going to let you have the satisfaction of dragging me out in handcuffs. Put down the gun. Make me." They stared at each other across the desk. Logan's finger was on the trigger. One shot. Self-defense. Justifiable. Nobody would question it. But that wasn't justice. That was just more violence, more death, more poison. "I'm not going to kill you," Logan said. "You're not worth it." He turned to leave. The gunshot was deafening in the enclosed space. Logan spun back. Voss was slumped in his chair, the pistol fallen from his hand, blood spreading across his chest. But it wasn't suicide. The angle was wrong. The wound was wrong. Through the window behind the desk, Logan saw a figure on a distant rooftop lowering a sniper rifle. Someone had just assassinated Senator Voss. Someone who wanted him dead before he could testify, before he could name names, before he could expose the people above him in the network. "Jesus Christ," Logan whispered. "Logan." Webb's voice was urgent now. "5 minutes, we have to go now." Logan ran, down the stairs through the smoke-filled hallway into the study where Webb and Elise were dragging Judge Chen and Representative Holloway toward the door. Gage was already outside, barking urgently. "Where's Voss?" Webb asked. "Dead. Sniper." "What?" "Someone killed him. Someone who didn't want him talking." Logan grabbed Holloway's other arm. "Move, now." They burst out of the house into the night air. Behind them through the windows, Logan could see flames spreading. The fire Voss had started was consuming everything. In 3 minutes, the explosives would finish the job. They made it to the tree line when the first charge detonated. The basement went up in a rolling fireball. Then the ground floor. Then the second. The entire estate collapsed in on itself in a cascading wave of destruction. Decades of evidence. Hundreds of documents. All of it burned to ash in seconds. Logan, Webb, and Elise stood there watching, covered in soot and blood, as the house that had hidden so many secrets died in flames. Police cars were streaming up the driveway now. Real police, state troopers, federal agents. Too late to stop the destruction, but in time to secure the survivors. Webb was already giving orders coordinating the response. Judge Chen and Representative Holloway were being loaded into ambulances. The security chief was answering questions, hands cuffed, surrounded by officers. Elise collapsed against a tree, shaking. Logan sat down beside her. Neither spoke. What was there to say? They'd won. Sort of. The network was exposed. The corruption was public. But the physical evidence was destroyed. Voss was dead. Bradley was dead. The developer was dead. Half the people who could have testified were gone. "Did we accomplish anything?" Elise asked finally. Her voice was hollow. "Or did we just rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic?" Logan thought about his father, about 4 dead surveyors, about 19 years of silence. "We told the truth," he said. "That's what my father tried to do. That's what we did. Whether anyone listens, whether anything changes, that's not on us. We did our part." Is it enough? Logan didn't know. He honestly didn't know. His phone buzzed. Sarah's name. "The video just hit 10 million views," she said. "Every major outlet is covering it. The Attorney General just announced a federal task force to investigate corruption in Missouri county governments, and 3 more senators have been linked to Midwest Development Solutions through campaign contributions." "Voss is dead," Logan told her. "Sniper took him out before he could testify." Silence on the other end. Then, who? "I don't know. But someone higher up the chain. Someone who wanted to bury this before it reached Washington. Then we keep digging. We keep investigating. We keep—" "Sarah, stop." Logan's voice was gentle. "You've done enough. We've all done enough. Let the federal task force handle it from here. Let the real investigators do their job. We're not soldiers. We're not agents. We're just people who stumbled into something too big for us. Your father didn't stop. And my father died." Logan looked at Gage, at the dog's scarred face and tired eyes. "I'm not going to die for this. Not now. Not when I've finally got something to live for." He hung up and pulled Gage close. The dog was exhausted, bleeding from a dozen small cuts, but his tail was wagging weakly. "We're done," Logan told him. "We're going home." "Where's home?" Elise asked. Logan thought about the 50-cent mansion on the hillside, about the house that had started all of this, about the records room and the basement and the secrets it had kept for so long. "I don't know yet," he admitted. "But I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together." Webb walked over, phone pressed to his ear, looking grim. He hung up and sat down heavily beside them. "That was my director. There's going to be an investigation into tonight. The dead bodies, the destroyed evidence, the unauthorized operation. I'm probably going to lose my badge." "I'm sorry," Logan said. "Don't be. It was worth it." Webb smiled slightly. "My daughter called. She saw the news. She said, 'I'm her hero.' That's worth more than any badge." They sat there in silence, watching the estate burn as emergency vehicles continued to arrive, and the night sky filled with smoke, and the first light of dawn started to creep over the horizon. It wasn't victory. It wasn't justice. It was just survival. But sometimes Logan thought survival was enough. Sometimes living to fight another day was its own kind of win. He pulled out his phone and looked at the photo of his father he kept in his wallet. Young, smiling, holding a surveyor's transit like it was the most important thing in the world. "We did it, Dad," Logan whispered. "It's not perfect. It's not clean. But we did it. Your truth is out there. People know what happened. And that's something. That's enough." The photo didn't answer. But Logan felt something, a warmth, a presence, a sense of peace he hadn't felt in 19 years. His father could rest now, and maybe finally, so could Logan. Gage whined softly and pressed against him. Logan scratched behind the dog's ears. "Come on, boy. Let's go home." "Where?" Elise asked again. Logan stood up, helping her to her feet. "Anywhere but here. Anywhere we can start over. Anywhere we can be normal people for a while." "I don't think we get to be normal anymore," Elise said, but she was smiling slightly. "Then we'll be our own kind of normal." They walked away from the burning estate, away from the chaos and the questions and the consequences, and into the growing dawn. Behind them, the past burned. Ahead of them, the future waited, uncertain, dangerous, but theirs to shape. Logan had spent 8 years running from the past, from the war, from the trauma, from the weight of everything he'd lost. Maybe it was time to stop running. Maybe it was time to start building something new. The sun broke over the horizon, painting the sky gold and red. A new day, a fresh start. And for the first time in longer than he could remember, Logan Hart believed in the possibility of hope. The hope lasted exactly 3 days. Logan was sitting on the porch of a rental cabin outside Columbia, watching Gage chase squirrels in the yard, when the black sedan pulled up. Not FBI, not police. Something else. 2 men got out. Suits. Dark glasses. The kind of people who didn't need to show identification because their presence was identification enough. Logan Hart. The taller one spoke first. Logan's hand moved instinctively to his hip. No weapon there. He'd left it inside. Stupid mistake. "Who's asking?" "Department of Justice. We need to talk about what happened at the Voss estate." "I already gave my statement to the FBI." "We're not FBI." The man pulled out credentials. "Department of Justice, Office of Special Investigations." "And we're not here about your statement. We're here about what you didn't say." Logan stood slowly. Gage was beside him instantly, hackles raised. "I told them everything." "Did you tell them about the sniper? About who killed Senator Voss?" "I saw a figure on a rooftop. That's all I know." "You're lying." The second man spoke now, shorter, harder. "We traced the ballistics, military-grade ammunition, professional kill shot. The angle suggests the shooter was approximately 800 meters away. That's not amateur work. That's government contractor work." Logan's stomach dropped. "You think the government killed Voss?" We think someone with government resources wanted him dead before he could testify. Someone who had a lot to lose if the investigation reached Washington. The tall man stepped closer. Senator Voss wasn't the top of the food chain, Mr. Hart. He was middle management. The real power structure goes much higher. Federal contracts worth billions, Defense Department connections, people who make senators look like pawns. What do you want from me? We want you to testify. Federal grand jury. About everything you found in that mansion. Everything Bradley told you. Everything Voss said before he died. You told the FBI about state-level corruption. We're talking about federal crimes. Conspiracy to defraud the government. Embezzlement of veteran benefit funds. Money laundering through defense contracts. This isn't Missouri politics anymore. This is national security. Logan looked at Gage. At the cabin. At the 3 days of peace, he'd managed to scrape together. And if I say no? The hard man's expression didn't change. We can protect you, or we can make you a target, your choice. That sounds like a threat. That sounds like reality. The people at the top of this network. They've already killed Voss to keep him quiet. What makes you think they won't kill you too? Because I've already told my story. It's public. Killing me now accomplishes nothing. Unless you know more than you've said. Unless there's something in those mansion records that you haven't revealed yet. The tall man pulled out a folder. We know you took photographs of documents before the estate burned. We know you uploaded them to a cloud server. And we know you haven't shared all of them with authorities. Logan's blood went cold. He had taken extra photos. Insurance, he'd told himself. Evidence that couldn't be destroyed if something happened to him. But he'd only shared the most damning documents, the ones that directly implicated Voss and Bradley. The others, the ones that showed connections to federal officials, defense contractors, people whose names appeared in classified contracts, those he'd kept separate, just in case. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Hart, we're not your enemies. We're trying to expose the same corruption you risked your life to fight. But we need your cooperation. We need those documents. And we need you to testify about what they show. Who are you really working for? The question hung in the air. The two men exchanged glances. We work for the American people, the tall man said finally. We work for the rule of law. We work for bullshit. Logan's voice was flat. Nobody talks like that unless they're covering for someone. Who sent you? Who really wants those documents? The hard man's hand moved inside his jacket. Logan tensed. Gage growled. Easy, the tall man said. Nobody needs to make this difficult. Then tell me the truth. Another long pause. Then the tall man sighed. We work for a task force investigating corruption in federal contracting. But the task force is politically sensitive. There are people in Congress who want to shut it down. People in the Pentagon who want it buried. We're operating in a gray area between authorized investigation and less authorized methods. So you're rogue. We're pragmatic. The system is designed to protect itself. If we wait for proper channels, proper authorization, proper oversight, the evidence disappears. Witnesses die. Trails go cold. We've seen it happen a dozen times. The tall man stepped closer. Your father tried to work within the system. He died. You tried to work within the system. You barely survived. Maybe it's time to accept that the system is fundamentally broken, and the only way to fix it is from outside. Logan thought about the past week. The gunfights. The explosions. The bodies. What exactly are you proposing? Give us the documents. Testify to the grand jury. Help us build a case that can't be dismissed or buried. In exchange, we guarantee your safety and immunity from any prosecution related to your actions at the Voss estate. And if I refuse, the hard man's hand was still inside his jacket. Then you become a loose end, and loose ends have a way of getting tied up. Logan was about to respond when his phone buzzed. Sarah's name. He answered on speaker. Logan, where are you? Her voice was urgent, frightened. At the cabin. What's wrong? Someone broke into my apartment. They trashed everything. They were looking for something. Background noise, sirens, people shouting. The police are here, but I don't think this was random. I think someone's trying to... The line went dead. Logan stared at his phone. What did you do? The two men looked genuinely confused. We didn't touch her. Then who did? The people we're trying to stop. The tall man's face was grim. This is what I'm talking about. They're cleaning house. Everyone who knows too much, everyone who might testify, they're being systematically eliminated or intimidated. If you think you can just walk away, live a quiet life, you're deluding yourself. The only way out is through. Logan's phone rang again. Different number. He answered. Mr. Hart. This is Detective Morrison, St. Louis PD. We met briefly at the warehouse. I need to inform you that Elise Monroe was involved in a hit-and-run 30 minutes ago. She's alive but critical. The driver fled the scene. We're treating it as attempted murder. Logan's hands started shaking. Where is she? Barnes Jewish Hospital. But Mr. Hart, you should know we found evidence suggesting the vehicle was stolen from a government motor pool, federal plates. This wasn't some random accident. Logan hung up and looked at the two men. You want my cooperation. You want those documents, then you protect my people, right now, Sarah Chen and Elise Monroe. You put them in protective custody, you keep them safe, and then we'll talk about grand juries. The tall man pulled out his phone. Give me their locations. Logan did. The man made 2 calls speaking in terse, coded language. When he finished, he looked at Logan. We have teams moving to secure both of them. But this proves my point. You're in danger. Everyone connected to this investigation is in danger. The only way to end it is to bring down the entire network. Not just the Missouri players. Everyone. How many people are we talking about? Dozens. Maybe hundreds. This corruption goes back 30 years. Multiple states, multiple agencies. Billions of dollars. The tall man pulled out a map covered in pins and lines connecting names and organizations. Voss was one node in a network that spans the entire country. Defense contracts get approved with falsified surveys. Land gets seized through eminent domain and resold at inflated prices. Veterans' benefits get siphoned off through shell companies. The money flows up through multiple layers until it reaches people you've never heard of, but who control which bills get passed, which generals get promoted, which judges get appointed. Logan stared at the map. It was overwhelming. Incomprehensible. How could corruption on this scale exist without anyone noticing? People have noticed, the tall man said, reading his expression. That's why there are 4 dead surveyors. That's why journalists who ask questions end up in car accidents. That's why FBI agents who investigate too closely get transferred to Alaska. The system protects itself, and it's very, very good at protecting itself. So why come to me? Why not use your own people? Because our people keep dying. In the last 3 years, we've lost 6 investigators to accidents and suicides. We need someone outside the system. Someone with evidence that's already public. Someone who can't be disappeared quietly. Logan sat back down on the porch steps. Gage pressed against him, warm and solid. He thought about his father, about 19 years of silence, about the choice to seek truth or seek peace. He'd chosen truth once. It had almost killed him. But the alternative, walking away, pretending none of this mattered, letting the corruption continue, that would kill something worse than his body. It would kill whatever remained of his father's legacy. Okay, Logan said finally. I'll testify. I'll give you the documents. But I have conditions. Name them. First, Sarah and Elise get full protection. Not just guards. New identities if necessary. Whatever it takes to keep them safe. Agreed. Second, I want regular updates. If someone comes after me or them, I need to know immediately. No bureaucratic delays, no need to know restrictions. Agreed. Third, when this is over, if we survive, you help me disappear. New identity, new life. Somewhere far from Missouri and Washington and anywhere else your network operates. The tall man hesitated. That might be difficult to authorize. Then don't authorize it. Just do it. Off the books. The same way you're running this investigation. A long pause. Then, agreed. Logan stood and extended his hand. Then we have a deal. The tall man shook it. His grip was firm, professional. We'll move you to a secure location tonight. Bring only what you need. Everything else gets left behind. I need Gage. The dog comes. Logan went inside to pack. It didn't take long. He'd been living out of a duffel bag for months anyway. As he was gathering his things, his phone rang again. Webb's name. Logan, I heard about Elise. How is she? Critical but stable. Critical, but someone tried to kill her. I know. I also know the DOJ showed up at your cabin. Don't trust them. Logan froze. What? The Office of Special Investigations. They're not what they claim to be. I did some digging after they contacted me. The director was fired 6 months ago for unauthorized surveillance. The entire unit is operating without oversight. They're basically a rogue operation using government resources to pursue personal vendettas. Against who? That's the question, isn't it? Maybe they're genuinely trying to expose corruption. Maybe they're trying to cover it up. Maybe they're trying to seize control of the network for themselves. Webb's voice dropped. All I know is that 3 witnesses who cooperated with them ended up dead within a month. Car accidents, suicides, 1 disappearance. Logan looked out the window. The 2 DOJ men were standing by their sedan, speaking quietly. They didn't look threatening. They looked professional, competent, trustworthy, which meant nothing. What do you suggest? Logan asked. Run. Take Gage and disappear. I can help you. I know people who specialize in making people vanish. New identity, new country if necessary. Get out before this gets worse. And let the corruption continue. Let my father's death mean nothing. Your father would want you alive, not martyred for a cause that's bigger than any one person can fight. Logan thought about that. Maybe Webb was right. Maybe the smart play was to run, to survive, to let someone else fight this battle. But then he thought about Sarah's frightened voice on the phone, about Elise lying in a hospital bed, about 4 dead surveyors whose families never got justice, about his father's final words. Do not file. He knew. His father had known the cost, had chosen to fight anyway, had died for it. Maybe some things were worth dying for. I'm staying, Logan said. But I'm not trusting the DOJ either. I need you to do something for me. Name it. The documents I uploaded. The ones showing federal connections. I sent them to a secure server. I'm going to give you the access codes. If something happens to me, if I disappear or die or suddenly recant everything, you release those documents. All of them. Every news outlet, every senator, every judge. You flood the system with truth until they can't bury it anymore. Logan, that'll make you a target for everyone. I'm already a target. At least this way, if they kill me, it accomplishes nothing. The evidence still gets released. They lose either way. Webb was silent for a long moment. Send me the codes. I'll set up a dead man's switch. If you don't check in every 48 hours, everything gets released automatically. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You might not survive long enough to need it. Logan hung up and sent the access codes. Then he walked outside with his duffel bag and Gage. The 2 DOJ men looked up as he approached. Ready? The tall man asked. One question first. Who killed Senator Voss? We don't know. We're investigating bullshit. You know, or you suspect. Otherwise, you wouldn't be this desperate for my testimony. Logan stepped closer. Tell me who killed him. Tell me who's at the top of this network, or I walk away right now. The 2 men exchanged glances. The hard man shook his head slightly, but the tall man sighed. We think it was Blackwater Solutions. Private military contractor. They've done security work for the network for years. Voss probably knew their real operations, the intimidation, the killings, the evidence destruction. He was too dangerous to let testify. And who hired Blackwater? That's what we're trying to find out. The contract trail is buried under layers of shell companies and offshore accounts. But it leads back to someone with access to federal black budgets. Someone in the intelligence community or the Pentagon. Someone who can authorize military contractors without congressional oversight. Logan felt cold. You're saying someone in the government is running a private army to protect a corruption network. We're saying the line between government and criminal enterprise has been blurred to the point where we can't tell them apart anymore, and we need your help to untangle it. Logan looked at Gage, at the cabin, at the illusion of peace he'd almost convinced himself was real. Then he threw his duffel bag in the back of the sedan and climbed in. Let's go. But if you're lying to me, if this is a trap, I promise you'll regret it. The tall man smiled slightly. If we were going to kill you, Mr. Hart, we'd have done it already. They drove for 3 hours, switching vehicles, twice taking random turns, and backtracking to ensure they weren't followed. Logan watched the countryside roll past and wondered if he was making the biggest mistake of his life. The safe house turned out to be a farm in rural Illinois. Isolated, defensible, the kind of place you picked when you expected trouble. Inside, Logan found Sarah and Elise waiting. Sarah was pale but unhurt. Elise was in a wheelchair, her left leg in a cast, bandages around her ribs. They got to you too, Elise said as Logan entered. It wasn't a question. They made an offer I couldn't refuse. That's what they told us. Sarah's voice was bitter. Cooperate or die. Some choice. The tall man entered behind Logan. I understand you're angry, but we're genuinely trying to help. The people who broke into your apartment, Ms. Chen, who ran Ms. Monroe off the road, they're going to keep coming until you're silenced. We can protect you, but only if you work with us. Work with you how? Elise asked. Testify. Grand jury convenes in 2 weeks. We need you to tell them everything you know about Midwest Development Solutions, the shell companies, the money trails. Between the 3 of you, we can build a case that reaches the people at the top. And then what? Sarah demanded. They go to prison. People this powerful don't go to prison. They get investigated, they get bad press, maybe 1 or 2 scapegoats take the fall, and then it's business as usual. Not this time. The tall man pulled out the map again, spreading it across the kitchen table. This time we have everything. Names, dates, amounts. We have Bradley's confession. We have Voss's connection to Blackwater. We have documents showing federal contracts awarded to companies that don't exist. We have enough evidence to bring down 50 people, maybe more. Logan studied the map. So many names, so many connections. It was like looking at a spiderweb, intricate and vast and impossible to destroy without destroying the entire structure. Who's at the center? He asked, pointing to the middle of the web where multiple lines converged. The tall man hesitated. We don't know for certain, but all roads lead to one person. Someone who's been in government for 40 years. Someone who's served in multiple administrations. Someone with access to classified budgets and covert operations. Who? Deputy Secretary of Defense James Carver. He's been overseeing military contracts since the Reagan administration. Every major defense deal in the last 3 decades has gone through his office. And according to our analysis, every fraudulent land deal, every embezzled veteran benefit, every shell company in the network, they all trace back to defense contracts Carver approved. Logan felt the room tilt. You're saying the Deputy Secretary of Defense is running a criminal enterprise out of the Pentagon. We're saying he's part of it, maybe the architect, maybe just a facilitator, but without his participation, none of this works. He's the key that unlocks everything. Then arrest him. We can't. He's protected by executive privilege. We need evidence that's ironclad, overwhelming, impossible to dismiss. We need testimony from multiple witnesses. We need documents that prove intent and knowledge, and we need all of it to go public simultaneously so he can't use his influence to bury it. So you're building a case. We're building a war against people who have billions of dollars, unlimited resources, and the full weight of the federal government behind them. The tall man looked tired suddenly. Old. We're probably going to lose, but we have to try. Because if we don't, if we just accept that this is how the system works, then what's the point of having laws at all? Logan thought about his father, about the surveyor who'd found corruption and tried to stop it and paid with his life, about all the people who'd tried to fight and failed and been forgotten. How do we win? Logan asked. We go public, all at once. Grand jury testimony, document release, press conference. We hit them from every angle simultaneously. Make it too big to bury, too public to kill quietly. Force congressional hearings. Force media coverage. Force the system to actually respond instead of protecting its own. And if that doesn't work, the tall man's expression was grim, then we become the story. Whistleblowers who died trying to expose corruption. Martyrs instead of witnesses. But at least the truth gets out. At least people know what happened. That's a terrible plan, Elise said. You have a better one. Silence. Then we proceed. The tall man rolled up the map. You have 2 weeks to prepare, to organize your testimony, to get your evidence in order. After that, we go to war. The next 2 weeks were a blur of preparation. Logan spent hours reviewing documents, organizing evidence, preparing testimony. Sarah and Elise did the same. The farm became a bunker protected by armed guards, surrounded by surveillance equipment, isolated from the outside world. But isolation didn't mean safety. On the 10th day, one of the guards didn't show up for his shift. They found him in his car 2 miles away, dead from an apparent heart attack. He was 32 years old. No history of heart problems. On the 12th day, the farm's internet went down. When technicians came to repair it, they found the line had been cut. Professionally, precisely. On the 13th day, Logan woke up to find Gage whining at the window. Outside in the pre-dawn darkness, he saw a figure standing at the edge of the property. Just standing. Watching. When Logan grabbed his weapon and went outside, the figure was gone. They're testing our defenses, the hard man said at breakfast. Probing for weaknesses. They're going to make a move soon. How soon? Webb asked. He'd joined them at the safe house 3 days earlier, officially retired from the FBI, but unofficially part of the team. Before the grand jury. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, but soon. They prepared as best they could. Extra guards, more weapons, backup generators in case power got cut. Emergency evacuation plans if they needed to run. But Logan knew deep in his bones that running wouldn't help. The network had found them. The network always found people who knew too much. The attack came at 2 a.m. on the 14th day. No warning, no advance notice, just the sound of breaking glass and gunfire. Logan was awake instantly, weapon in hand, Gage at his side. He could hear shouting downstairs. Return fire from the guards. Then silence. That was bad. Silence meant the guards were down. Logan moved to the door and listened. Footsteps on the stairs. Multiple people. Moving fast. Professional. He looked at Gage. Hyde. Verberg. The dog hesitated, then slipped under the bed. Logan positioned himself beside the door, weapon raised. When it opened, he'd have maybe 1 second to identify threat or friendly. 1 second to decide who lived and who died. The door exploded inward. Not opened. Exploded. Breaching charge. Logan was thrown back by the blast, ears ringing, vision blurred. 2 figures rushed in. Black tactical gear. Night vision. Suppressed weapons. Logan fired twice. 1 figure went down. The other returned fire. Logan felt something punch him in the chest. Body armor absorbed it, but the impact drove him to his knees. The second figure advanced, weapon raised for a kill shot. Gage exploded from under the bed and hit the figure's weapon arm. The shot went wide. The figure tried to shake the dog off, but Gage's jaws were locked, teeth finding flesh through the tactical gear. Logan surged forward and tackled the figure. They went down hard. Logan got his hands around the person's throat and realized it was a woman. Young, maybe 25, terrified behind the balaclava. "Who sent you?" Logan demanded. She didn't answer, just stared at him with wide, frightened eyes. "Who sent you?" "Carver," she gasped. "Deputy Secretary Carver. He said you were terrorists. He said we were protecting national security." Logan felt sick. "You're military. Contractors. Blackwater. We were told this was an authorized operation. You're killing civilians on American soil, and you think it's authorized? We were following orders." Gunfire erupted from other parts of the house. More screaming, more chaos. Logan zip-tied the woman's hands and left her on the floor. He grabbed Gage and moved into the hallway. Webb was there trading fire with two more contractors at the far end of the hall. Elise and Sarah were barricaded in a bedroom returning fire with pistols. "We need to evacuate," Webb shouted. "There's too many of them." "Where's the tall man?" Logan asked. "Dead. They hit his room first." Logan felt something cold settle in his stomach. The one person who knew the full scope of the investigation. The one person who could testify about Carver's involvement. Dead in the first 30 seconds. That wasn't an accident. "This isn't a raid," Logan said. "This is an assassination. They're not here to capture us. They're here to eliminate everyone who knows about Carver." "Then we run. Now." They fought their way downstairs. 4 contractors down, maybe 6 more still active. The house was chaos, smoke, gunfire, screaming. Logan couldn't tell who was winning. They made it to the back door. The escape vehicles were 30 yards away, parked behind the barn. "Go!" Webb shouted. "I'll cover you." Logan ran with Gage, Sarah, and Elise beside him. Bullets chewed up the ground around them. 20 yards. 15. 10. An explosion ripped through the barn. The vehicles went up in flames. "No!" Sarah screamed. They were trapped. No vehicles. No escape route. Surrounded by professional killers with military-grade weapons. Logan looked around desperately. The only structure still intact was a storage shed at the edge of the property. Not defensible, but it was something. "There," he pointed. "Move." They ran for the shed. More gunfire. Elise stumbled. Her injured leg couldn't handle the speed. Logan caught her, half carrying her the last 10 yards. They burst into the shed and slammed the door. It was small, cramped, filled with farming equipment. 1 window, 1 door, no other exits. "We're dead," Sarah said. She was crying now, past fear into resignation. "We're trapped and we're dead." Logan looked at Gage, at Webb reloading his weapon, at Elise struggling to stay conscious, at Sarah's tear-streaked face. They'd fought so hard, come so far, exposed so much corruption, and now they were going to die in a storage shed because one man in Washington had decided they knew too much. No. Logan pulled out his phone. 1 bar of signal, maybe enough. He called the number Webb had given him. The dead man's switch. The automated system that would release all the documents if Logan failed to check in. "Override code," an automated voice asked. "Hart, Alpha 79. Logan's voice was steady now, calm. "Initiate immediate release. All documents, all recipients. Authorization Logan Hart." "Are you certain this action cannot be undone?" "I'm certain. Do it now." "Release initiated. Estimated distribution time 90 seconds. Logan hung up and looked at the others. "It's done. In 90 seconds, every document we have, every name, every connection, every piece of evidence goes public. To news outlets, senators, judges, the attorney general. Everyone." "But we'll be dead," Sarah whispered. "Maybe, but the truth won't be. And that's what matters." Outside, the gunfire had stopped. Logan could hear voices. Tactical coordination. They were preparing for the final assault. 60 seconds. The shed door creaked. Someone was testing it, checking if it was locked. 45 seconds. "When they come through that door," Webb said quietly, "we make them pay for it. Every round. Every second. We make them remember us. 30 seconds. Logan scratched Gage behind the ears one last time. "Good boy," he whispered. "Best dog I ever had." 15 seconds. The door exploded inward. 5 seconds. Logan raised his weapon. And then, from somewhere in the distance, sirens. Lots of them. Not local police. Something bigger. The contractors at the door hesitated. 3 seconds. More sirens. Helicopters. Searchlights cutting through the darkness. 2 seconds. Someone was shouting, "Federal agents, identify yourselves, drop your weapons." 1 second. The documents went live. Logan's phone exploded with notifications, news alerts, breaking stories. His inbox flooded with automated confirmations every major outlet had received the files. Outside, the contractors were retreating, running for extraction. But the federal response was overwhelming. Actual FBI, actual federal agents, not contractors or rogue operatives, but the real thing. Logan lowered his weapon slowly. Did we just win? Webb was staring at his phone, reading news alerts. Deputy Secretary Carver just resigned. Emergency press conference. Says he's stepping down for personal reasons. Personal reasons, meaning his entire criminal enterprise just got exposed, Elise said. She was laughing and crying at the same time. It's everywhere. Sarah breathed, scrolling through her phone. Every outlet. CNN, Fox, MSNBC, The Times, The Post. Everyone's running the story. 30 years of corruption. Names, dates, amounts. They can't bury this. It's too big. Logan walked outside with Gage. Federal agents were securing the scene, arresting the contractors who'd surrendered. He saw the woman he'd subdued being loaded into an ambulance. She looked at him as she passed, not with hatred, with something else, maybe understanding. An FBI supervisor approached Logan. "Mr. Hart, I'm Assistant Director Chen. We need you to come with us. You're going to need protective custody while we sort this out. No more safe houses." Fair enough. But you're going to be the star witness in what might be the biggest federal prosecution in history. We need to keep you alive. Logan thought about his father, about surveyors who'd died trying to expose the truth, about 19 years of silence. "Okay," he said finally. "But on one condition. I want to visit my father's grave, before the circus starts, before the media and the trials and everything else. I need to tell him it's over." Chen nodded. "I'll arrange it. Tomorrow morning, before anyone knows you're there." The next morning, Logan stood at his father's grave in a small cemetery outside Ashford. Gage sat beside him. Webb, Sarah, and Elise stood a respectful distance away. Logan knelt and put his hand on the headstone. "Hey, Dad, sorry it took so long, but I finished it. Everyone knows what happened. Everyone knows what you tried to do. Your name's going to be cleared. They're talking about naming something after you, a memorial or a scholarship or something. You're going to be remembered as a hero, not just by me, by everyone." He paused. The morning was quiet, peaceful. "I wish you could have seen this. Wish you could have been there when it all came out. But I know you're watching. I know you're proud." Logan's voice cracked. "I'm proud too. Of you. Of what you tried to do. You taught me that some things are worth fighting for, worth dying for. Truth, justice, the belief that one person can make a difference." He stood slowly. Gage pressed against his leg. "I'm going to be okay, Dad. We're all going to be okay. The bad guys are going down. The system's broken, but we're going to fix it. Or at least we're going to try. That's all anyone can do, right? Try to make things better." Logan walked back to the others. They stood together in the quiet cemetery, survivors of a war most people would never know about. A war fought in abandoned mansions and burning estates and storage sheds. A war for truth. "What happens now?" Sarah asked. "Now we testify," Logan said. "We tell our stories. We make sure everyone who participated in this network faces justice. And then..." He looked at the sky, at the sun rising over Missouri. "Then we figure out what comes next." "I know what comes next for me," Elise said. "I'm writing a book, The whole story, start to finish. People need to know how close we came to losing, how much courage it took to fight back. I'm going back to journalism, Sarah added. Real investigative work, the kind that holds power accountable. There are more stories like this out there, more corruption, more cover-ups. Someone needs to expose them. Webb smiled. I'm thinking about running for office, local council maybe. Someone needs to make sure this doesn't happen again. Might as well be someone who knows what to look for. They all looked at Logan. I don't know yet, he admitted. Maybe I'll go back to school, finish my degree. Or maybe I'll do what my father did, become a surveyor. Make sure property records are accurate and honest. It's not glamorous, but it matters. My father proved that. Whatever you do, Webb said, you did something important here. You honored your father's legacy. You exposed corruption that had been hidden for decades. You made a difference. Logan looked back at his father's grave, at the simple headstone with its simple inscription, Miles Hart, beloved father, honest man. He made the difference, Logan said quietly. I just finished what he started. They walked back to the cars together. Ahead of them lay trials and testimony and years of legal battles. The network wouldn't go down without a fight. There would be appeals and delays and attempts to discredit the evidence. But the truth was out there now. Public. Undeniable. And truth, Logan had learned, was the most powerful weapon in the world. 6 months later, Logan sat in a federal courtroom and watched as Deputy Secretary James Carver was led away in handcuffs. Convicted on 47 counts of corruption, conspiracy, and fraud. Sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. It wasn't everyone. Some people had fled the country. Some had died before they could be prosecuted. Some had made deals and testified against their partners. But it was enough. It was justice. After the verdict, Logan walked out of the courthouse with Gage at his side. Reporters swarmed shouting questions, but Logan pushed through without answering. He'd said everything he needed to say in testimony. The rest was just noise. He found Elise waiting by his truck. Her book had been published 3 months earlier. It was already a bestseller. Congratulations, she said. You won. We won, Logan corrected. All of us. What are you going to do now? Really? Logan looked at Gage, at the dog who'd saved his life a dozen times, at the companion who'd walked through hell beside him and never wavered. I'm going home, Logan said. Wherever that is, and I'm going to live a normal life, or as normal as I can manage after everything we've been through. The mansion's still there, Elise pointed out. Your 50-cent investment. They've been trying to reach you about what to do with it. Logan had forgotten about the mansion, the house that started everything, the house where his father's secrets had waited 19 years to be discovered. What should I do with it? He asked. Turn it into something good, a museum maybe, or a community center, a place where truth is honored instead of buried. Logan liked that idea. Yeah, maybe I will. He drove back to Ashford for the first time in months. The town looked different, smaller, less threatening. The shadow that had hung over it for decades was gone. The mansion stood on its hill exactly as he'd left it. But it didn't feel haunted anymore. It felt peaceful, like it had finally exhaled after holding its breath for 30 years. Logan walked through the front door with Gage. The interior was dusty, but intact. He walked to the basement to the records room where he'd found his father's photograph. The files were gone, seized as evidence, but the room remained. He stood there for a long moment remembering. Then he pulled out his phone and made a call. Hey, it's Logan Hart. I've been thinking about your suggestion, about turning the mansion into something. I want to do it. I want to create a center for investigative journalism. A place where reporters can research corruption without fear. Where whistleblowers can come with evidence and know they'll be protected. Where truth matters more than power. He listened to the response, then smiled. Yeah, that sounds perfect. Let's call it the Miles Hart Center for Truth and Accountability. My father would have liked that." Logan hung up and looked around the room one last time. This house had held secrets for so long. Now it would hold truth instead. He walked back upstairs and out onto the porch. The sun was setting, painting the Missouri sky gold and red. Gage sat beside him, tail thumping slowly against the worn wood. "We did it, boy," Logan said quietly. "We actually did it." And for the first time in 19 years, Logan Hart felt like he could finally rest. The war was over. The truth had won. And his father's legacy would live on, not in silence and secrets, but in light and justice and the courage to stand against corruption no matter the cost. That was enough. That was everything. That was the victory that mattered most.